My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Alrighty, this is the Ontario International Airport doing the same thing, repeatedly begging for attention from me. It's pathetic. This is not an ex-boyfriend. This is a whole city that's engaging in stalking me and spending millions of dollars in doing so. And they're doing it very late. It's 12 o'clock in the morning. Look at what they're flying over, hovering in slow motion. This is a senior citizen complex. This is indeed targeting me. There is no bit. First of all, there's no flights right now. And secondly, there are no flights that would ever be over this area. Third of all, this is a multifamily senior citizen complex that they're hovering over. And they're doing it while the fake moon is over my head. This is indeed the city of Ontario that is targeting, just like you see the pathetic demons of the Ontario Police Department. These are the demon possessed. Whatever it is that you think about people in positions, I'm going to tell you, it's all a facade. These demons are out here slowly dying, okay? And my prosecution of the U.S. government, my exposure of the demon-possessed, it's the nationwide, the international embarrassment of the U.S. government. And the U.S. government has been humiliated by its own puppets, who not only did they lose, they're looking at them engaged in an ongoing public progressive crash out. What is this? It's a show of how pathetic they are. Okay. And this is what they do, groveling over my vagina, stalking me in bathrooms. This is nothing that's making suicidal. It's making me rich. Okay. This is the P.O.C. This is the shutdown of the airport, the disbanding. That is the shutdown of a police department. It's not going to exist. This is going to be the discovery of resources. Like I said, the entity that is gang stalking is wasting millions of dollars on criminal conduct, surveillance. And these are going to be departments, people that are not going to line their pockets anymore. They are not going to have these positions that are created to create a paycheck where surveillance is underway, like what the demons are doing for an airport, of a police department, of a fire department, of gang stalking ambulances, etc. This is a waste of money, a waste of time. But it happened in order for me to expose it to you, and also for me to benefit from prosecuting the government in more than one way, and also to do a public service, which is to change the way in which the entity is operating, meaning break it down, its implosion, and also to change the way the system operates. Much of what is existing in these cities and throughout the states don't need to exist. They're existing because of the surveillance system. And they're going to be totally eradicated. It's going to be removed with regard to discovering resources that could be responsibly used and applied. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that is stalking me at 12:12 in the morning, repeatedly doing so, repeatedly. And I don't even care, okay? But I'm documenting it because I'm going to be compensated for this, for getting on my nerves, for wasting my time. P.O.C. Is the fourth plane the entity is flying over with. In doing so, remember, they're going all the way to UPLAND, California, very much desperate for my attention at this point, where everyone has already witnessed that I prosecuted, and I have also removed an entire apartment from existence, an entire airport from existence. So this is the entity that's literally looking for attention from me, and that's because these are demons that literally are dying within their own energy, okay? Their own dark spirits. And so I'm not going to waste any more film on watching them stalking me. You can look at the video of them stalking me in UPLAND, California, because this is what they're doing over and over again. What I did document are the two demons that are gang stalking at the intersection, and I'm documenting the people of the state because they're going to federal prison. I said from the beginning, the people of the state, I'm going to prosecute them, and that they are going to be prosecuted as terrorists, and that's exactly what's happening because of the government that you can see have engaged in such desperate acts, and then after losing, now just providing an ongoing advertisement regarding putting the people of the state in prison, which is helpful to put them where they belong. They are terrorists. So the government is stalking, and this is all surveillance. This is in Ontario, where the entity is engaging in that, and then they were in UPLAND stalking by plane, UPS in particular, but it's all the airlines, and the Ontario International Airport is no more. So that sort of desperation, that sort of nonsensical conduct, that sort of obvious engagement in a pattern of conduct is also the basis of removing an airport from existence. 73539 Xavier 1, P.O.C. It's currently 6:03 a.m. This is downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments. That's gang stalking. Ovid Family Community Library, John Stewart Company, Senior Citizen Complex, Ontario Town Square, and this is Wells Fargo. This is where the entity is maintaining that, and then stalking, just going up into the city of UPLAND where I'm at, and that's already established that the government is stalking. P.O.C. It is currently 6:03 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is RICO against the company ARCO, and this is a demon that's stalking with the entity that's following by planes up Euclid Avenue. So coming in, engaging in what is light activity. And Chevron and Starbucks and all the rest of the businesses, in other words, the entity itself is gang stalking while a demon is engaged in that. This is the P.O.C. This is a co-conspirator of murder. And this is a demon also. This is mental illness. This is that public corruption. And this is the entity that is gang stalking through the people of the state. All right. This is P.O.C. while they're acting so as an entity. ARCO is headquartered in L.A. also. So ARCO is making money that it's not going to keep. And ARCO's engaged in criminally in the pattern of conduct, including while the demons are engaged in studying their devices, just stalking at a gas stall. That's the same pattern of conduct where the airport is stalking right here at the, and the city of Ontario is stalking at the, as I've shown, from sunrise till sunset, by the way, under that fake sun by commercial planes. License 9 Bob Charlie Thomas 618. And this is the city of Upland. This is the employer. I already documented him. This is all the pattern of conduct. I'm just identifying demons. This is the pattern of conduct that is in Ontario, and the entity is following into the city of Upland. Stalking. These are the demons that are being defunded regarding terrorism, not receiving any government assistance, and they will need government assistance, and they're not going to get it. It is better for the public that the entity that is engaged in terrorism actually reach the point of homelessness, so that they are never in any position to, which is what they are doing, engaging in terrorism, and having somewhere to hide out, having somewhere to return to, and even maintaining what is a means of the appearance of normalcy, going back to their home, gang stalking, and then going back to their home where they're engaged in that pattern of conduct as a community at that. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 6:10 a.m. This is psychopathic pacing while they're going back and forth, paying back and forth to the gas stalls, light activity, turning on their vehicles, joining at the underneath. This is all the pattern of conduct while psychopathic pacing along Euclid Avenue. This is what this is. Alrighty, this is license plate. And these are demons. So you're looking at what is just ongoing mechanical behavior. 7ZDD666. While they're being prosecuted, 8CRH790. These are the people of the state that are suicidal, going into Ontario, gang stalking me in Upland. This is how triggered the entity is. And they're engaging in stalking conduct, knowing that they're being documented. No sane people are gang stalking, but also no sane entity is providing evidence against the entire, it's not just these idiots that are being prosecuted. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. 9VRN317 and the business, and it's not just this business, all right? This is the city of Ontario, 5RNC810. This is P.O.C. And this is the ARCO employee giving his contribution to activity. Already have his license plate. They're serially engaging in the pattern of conduct that's already prison. And it's also deportation if this applies. I suspect that it may apply. Deportation universally. But this is the pattern of conduct. It's activity creation. P.O.C. ARCO making money off of gang stalking. Okay? P.O.C. You'll recall the documentation of what Starbucks is doing. Ocean sitting at the front, keeping her back. The employee going in the bathroom in Ontario International Airport, pacing over that's Starbucks right there. ARCO is gang stalking the entire time. ARCO is a part of the criminal pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. All right, and this is the mentally ill that are engaging in what is gang stalking someone while consuming it. And this is a picture of what is obsession, while it is feigning what is disinterest and literally absent of your knowledge of your presence. But then you're looking at the fake sun that's here from sunrise until sunset. That is literally the corrupt entity that's engaged in what is deliberate, intentional, and malicious conduct designed to murder someone else, kidnap someone else. License 7 Henry 72550 P.O.C. ARCO is going to be prosecuted as a terrorist. ARCO is not this ARCO in Ontario is obviously not the only one. ARCO has a pattern of conduct, a documented pattern of conduct with the people of the state and the state of California. And ARCO is a means of what is blatantly stalking. The company is stalking, and the company's demon-possessed patrons are stalking, and that's what you're looking at right now. P.O.C. The entity that's stalking at the Wells Fargo is engaging in the pattern of conduct. The ARCO that's the entity that's stalking me in Upland by commercial planes and by the Ontario Fire Department, and doing so by helicopter as I'm documenting, it's stalking. This is the same pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. They maintain presence, and they're doing so with regard to what is a federal RICO case, because businesses are sharing in that pattern of conduct, and this is supposed to be cloaking. Everyone's here and no one knows what's going on, and they're all engaged in the pattern of conduct, especially when the fake sun is over all of them and they're pumping up their gas in the specific environment while the entity's stalking by plane and helicopter as well, in the middle of the day where the sun would not remain, especially when it's in Upland, California. Okay? Then you're getting to what is the entity that is desperately engaging in what is stalking. 9XFE059, 7ZRV973. And this is ARCO that's being documented. Like I said, all the companies are. Starbucks is not the only one being documented while the entity was flying over plane by plane and doing cartwheels over the Unicare Community Center while I was in that parking lot. ARCO was monitoring the entire time. Monitoring with minor children is 9XFE059. Engaged in federal stalking with minors. License 9VRN317. And they're all monitoring with minors. It's not just the minors that are in her car. They're all engaged in that criminal activity together. They're all going to be prosecuted together, including ARCO. All the ways in which they are a threat. Pumping up their gas and then filling up their tire. This is the entity that maintains presence in this way. Let me get the rest of these license plates. This is crossing path. And the City of Ontario's crossing path as well by City of Ontario using a smaller plane, 9TIH520. These are the mentally ill that are gang stalking, and gang stalking is over with. They're going to prison, and domestic terrorists are being deported. They're not keeping custody of kids. They are not getting any support, and they are being federally prosecuted as terrorists. That's what's literally going on the record. Violent sex offenders, 8JYG750, and the entire city of Ontario has been in this manner, while an entire population is proven to be engaging in a pattern of conduct. This is it. That's all over the apartment complex. They're all monitoring together. 8ZSH218, and this is the entity that's doing so. That's not sunlight, and 6 hours from now the sun is not going to be over this same venue, but that's what I've documented with regard to what is a population that is gang stalking. All right, that's this P.O.C, and these are the mentally ill that are a threat to the public. With this same disregard, this nonchalant demeanor, they're engaged in criminal activity against the people that are being targeted in the country. This is Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue. This is ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue, P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 6:15 a.m. And this is the entity that is maintaining this specific environment. As you can see, the engineer light, the entity that is and my documentation already shows sunrise till sunset with this environment, including with the people of the state using their commercial vehicles as light activity, while the entities engaged in flying in circles. This is all of this carnival circus nonsense is documented while 7ZRV973, 5RNC810, and 7H72550 and the employee are all sharing in what is criminal presence in the path. And as they come one after another, one customer after another, this is a federal RICO case. This is establishing the basis of RICO. This is also establishing the basis of what is the mentally ill behavior pattern. It's light activity, relevant positioning, and audible activity. That while they're engaged in federal stalking, and the entity is stalking as one, maintaining presence, including by the employee. And it's all state action. The government has no warrant or probable cause. And the entity is psychopathic, okay? Just like you saw yesterday while I'm standing on that sidewalk, and the Ontario International Airport in engineer light, where you can see the shadow of the light signals. That's not sunlight. And you're looking at what is in your face monitoring, okay? They're also monitoring vagina. While they're filling up their gas tank and spending money, these are sex offenders and they're stalkers. This is the pattern of conduct, and they're engaging in what is mentally ill behavior, and they're doing so while businesses are profiting from it, and this is exactly what is not going to happen. All right, so the entity is going to be stripped and defunded in every regard, and every business and every household, even the demon-possessed homeless, are going to be federally prosecuted while they're sharing in the government's pattern of conduct. It is currently, like I stated, 6:17 a.m. This is the pattern of conduct. When you're looking at the entity targeting, you're looking at all of the environment, not just the psychopaths that are gang stalking you in your face as though nothing is happening, like ARCO is engaging in. They're doing so in an environment that is irreconcilable. That's light activity, where the shadow of the vehicles are creating a flashing of light, which is impossible, while 5RNC810 studies his device. He's a demon, and he's a violent sex offender, gang stalking, and furtherance of murder. There is no iteration where that's natural light activity. So this is the P.O.C. Here's my person walking in the light, and you saw everybody over here that's just engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. Here's the fake sun that's on this side over here. This is what you're paying attention to. These are demons. And it's for your education, the entertainment of the demon-possessed, watching themselves being prosecuted. This is the entity that's stalking by airplanes in Upland, California. It's the same demented character, the same ill mindset when you are proven, and this is the entity that is entertained by its own demise. These are demons that are suicidal. These are demons that are indeed targeting you. And they're highly unintelligent while I show you all the ways in which you are very much clear that you are being targeted and under surveillance. 5RNC810 is going to be prosecuted, and if that's an immigrant, they will be happily deported. And it's not just him, it's the entire household. You bring the feds home to the entire household and to the neighborhood. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:19 a.m. This is indeed ARCO that's being prosecuted while Engineer Light is on the property. Speaking to what is targeting by the demons on the street. AWAP313 is gang stalking indeed. Okay, and this is the fake son that's in Upland, on the sidewalk, gang stalking. Doesn't matter how old and how many liver spots they have, they're all engaging in the same satanic conduct because Satan doesn't have an age. Okay, license 45185 Edward 2, P.O.C. And Ocean and Amelia and Patty and Brian and all the demons inside of Starbucks are going to federal prison still. This is the P.O.C. I'm prosecuting them inside of the building. I'm prosecuting them outside of the venue. I'm prosecuting them in Ontario. I'm prosecuting them in Upland, in Fontana, in Pomona, in San Bernardino. Those demons are going to federal prison. And the entity that's going to Upland, California, gang stalking me, are putting their own co-defendants in Starbucks, for example, in federal prison. This is P.O.C. You're not doing anything other than monitoring with that inexplicable, irreconcilable light activity under a fake sun, where the government is stalking. This is the entity that's going into Upland, engaging in the pattern of conduct. That was UPS, and that is United Airlines. And that is at what is 6:20 a.m. And it's over here because I'm not at Starbucks, because yesterday when I'm at Starbucks, you'll see the planes taking off right here over the Unicare, engaging what is cartwheels over this building over here, stalking. Engaging in no specific destination, hovering and doing cartwheels. And this is where they're going to prison. That's a stalker in a white van, looking like a kidnapper. 40430U3, a Latino male looking like a kidnapper, okay? With the geezers on the sidewalk, gang stalking, okay? Filling up with their prescriptions and gang stalking early in the morning, okay? That's the P.O.C. This is the beast system, and the demon-possessed are not intelligent. All right, this is the video documentation that's establishing all of the policies that I stated. The entity is being defunded. All resources of the government that are funding terrorists are going to be stripped back. These are terrorists that are not receiving any. These are enemies that are in the country. Understand, Osama bin Laden, that's a part of the population in this country. Okay, so not a foreign terrorist, but a domestic terrorist, equally engaged in targeting American citizens and doing it with the government. That is understanding the significance in your mind. Understand, if the president of the United States is engaging in what is targeting American citizens, the president of the United States, that's supposed to be our leader, our representation, right, is actually attacking us. That's a domestic enemy. And you are prosecuting, you are engaging in what is warfare with an enemy that is amongst us. This is what is happening. Legally speaking, this is the framework. And the entities engaged in this where you can clearly identify it in an environment. And ARCO is an enemy while they are making money off of gang stalking American citizens. And that's exactly how I'm going to prosecute them. And ARCO's not doing it by itself. They're co-defendants right across the street, like I'm giving an example, because I'll prosecute the city of Ontario with what ARCO is doing. And it's criminal. It's P.O.C. It's currently 6:21 a.m. This is P.O.C. It's the same pattern of conduct. Commercial airline planes and the city of Ontario maintaining psychopathic pacing aerial surveillance. License plate 6EZM188, driving through Engineer Light that's in the street. Pay attention to the side of the car. Impossible light activity. And then you saw the impossible light activity over here where their shadows are appearing. That's impossible. These are demons that are stalking. They're monitoring. And it's highly unintelligent. And the entity maintains aerial surveillance while that is underway. And this is the same light activity conduct at nightfall, replete with what you've already seen, the circus of the Ontario Police Department and the Ontario International Airport, the planes and the helicopters, engaging in the demons ritual, which has gotten them, manifested them, exposure and prosecution as terrorism, as terrorists, domestic terrorists, that are going to be treated as the enemies that they are. And enemies in this country are not getting in. And number one, off the top, you're not getting any government assistance, not a dime. In any form, you're not getting any assistance. Not even their demon-possessed children. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:22 a.m. Alrighty, I just want you to see the Ontario International Airport that's doing cartwheels over the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, just like I'm describing when I'm at the Ontario Town Square, which is literally on the opposite side of this apartment complex, downtown Ontario, where you just saw the Wells Fargo and the Ontario Town Square, the Elbow Cone. I'm on the opposite side of that same apartment complex where the sunset occurs, by the way, and the entity is engaged in doing cartwheels flying over that apartment complex, and they're doing so while the entity is stalking, and I'll show you the schedule where this airport is desperate for my attention, for acknowledgement, and this is getting to mental illness. You're stalking. This is an entity that's engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while they are maintaining, it looks like April 29th. I don't see the first flight is not published until 5:05 p.m. actually, but I'm gonna get on and look at it live. This is what an entity is doing while they're stalking plane after plane. You know the frequency. The entity is stalking, and so is ARCO. So are all the demons that just engage. They fill up their tank. This is the 2900th time where they're engaged in, oh, nothing's happening. So we're just going to, right in front of the court, right in front of the world, because the world is going to prosecute terrorists in the United States. You are all witnessing that they are enemies of this country. And they are the fools that they are, the baboons that they are, engaging in what is criminal monitoring, which is a threat to you right in front of your face, and doing so because the helicopter's not flying over the ARCO. So everything is, this is literally their mindset. And it looks like, everything looks like, well, nothing to see here. And I'm not afraid to engage in criminal activity because of that. This is an entity that's engaging in that conduct. And the entity is always engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity this is the flights that are generating now before 5 p.m. Yeah. So this is also Southwest Airlines that is hovering at 6:30 a.m. It's 6:28 a.m. when you're hearing that. And this is the entity that's in real-time monitoring. Coming from what is Gate 405 going to Phoenix, Arizona is not this. And it's not even 6:30 a.m. yet. And this is also not a takeoff from the terminals. This is not coming from the gate. This is an entity that, by the way, this highly unintelligent conduct is a threat to your safety. The Ontario International Airport is not going to remain in existence. This is a serious threat to the rest of you, not just in Ontario, but the states that they're going into. It's a threat to Arizona. It's a threat to Nevada. It's a threat to the states that they are entering into while they are gang stalking me, which I have proven. There is no flight where they are taking off now at 6:30 a.m., hovering over the Ontario Town Square or the Ontario City Hall, or in Upland, California, where Southwest Airlines is engaging what is flying over the top of my head, doing so at 1444 North Euclid Avenue, and they are doing so with the people of the state, okay? This old critter, this is a roach that's engaged in gang stalking and furtherance of murder in the specific environment. Monitoring with communication devices and the blatant disregard are showing the enemies that are the people of the state. 7 Mary 59263, pacing and engineer light. Demons. Also, pacing is shared with those at Chevron. Pay attention at 506 North Euclid Avenue. Harvey is the one that's gang stalking. I already have his license plate on the record. They're gang stalking together. And they're inside of Starbucks, which you already know. I gave detailed documentation regarding gang stalking at Starbucks, and they are monitoring together as one entity, while the entity is targeting at 434 North Euclid Avenue outside of what is a published schedule as well. It's the same thing such as Union Pacific using the Metrolink train station, and Metrolink operating using the train line as a means of activity. That's what that would be, both within and without that schedule, but going out of their way to use the train schedule when they don't even have a published train that's arriving. That's the significance of what the Ontario International Airport is engaging in, and they're doing so while there are no flights that are going to include hovering over the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. But what you do see, they're doing so in the environment where the fake sun is rising and setting, which is right here. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct, and then you're mindful of what I'm documenting at Chevron on Sunday, right here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct of gang stalking. These are pacing demons on Lemon and in the parking lot, mentally ill. And this is what they do. They pace all around you, stalking you until they murder you. Remember, Pavement Rehab is stalking on this street with light activity, as I documented the other morning. And remember the field day that they were having. There are no flights over the Ovid Family Community Library either, where the entities engage in that conduct with the people of the state. It is currently 6:31 a.m. This is the documentation that's going to put those on the Airport Authority Board, like Alan D. Wapner and Jim Bowman and Julia Gu. I'm going to federally prosecute them for the ongoing unlawful and criminal conduct in the act of terrorism of stalking me as an airport in concert with the commercial airline companies who have their own federal prosecutions conspiring my murder and gang stalking while making money, just like ARCO. Okay, this is the RICO case. These are the mentally ill, a population that's engaging in a surveillance system. And this is the beast system, and the beast system is operated by the demon-possessed who are, in fact, mentally ill. Because this is all they're doing is pacing. They're pacing all around you, stalking you, monitoring you unbeknownst to you. License 9FXR408, and showing you the schedule where the entity is maintaining flights, and that do not include here. And now you're talking about what is very serious mental instability and desperation, including not only stalking me in Upland, California with commercial planes, but also doing so while you're looking at the schedule. There's nothing coming from the airport. That's including hovering here, okay? And the entity in this video and in the previous videos that I already documented this morning, and then you're documenting all the businesses that are engaging. Everybody going to U.S. Bank is gang stalking. Everybody cleaning up at Gloria's Cochinas. Everybody on the roads and the highways. Everybody residing at the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. Everybody that's gang stalking in City of Ontario vehicles. City of Ontario, that is Paul Leon. He's being prosecuted as clearly as you see this schedule, as clearly as you see this fake son, because he's going to, sorry, hold on. He's going to be federally prosecuted, and he's going to be unsuccessful in court. Okay, this is the courtroom. The U.S. government that is being federally prosecuted for its own criminal activity, that it takes one that is subject to it, not the government that is biased and that would not expose everything that they're engaging in. And Paul Leon is very unsuccessful. His prosecution is already complete. All right. This is the pattern of conduct, and this is the entity that's unsuccessful while they're prosecuting each other, because Southwest Airlines is putting Paul Leon in prison. Okay, and my prosecution of Paul Leon is relevant for what his damages regarding Dallas, Texas, the headquarters of Southwest Airlines, and every other airlines that's being prosecuted. And gang members like GPC are being federally prosecuted right along with the City of Ontario as third parties. This is pattern of conduct. These are roaches, and these roaches are merely filling up their gas tank to be as close as possible, like they are in the bathroom, monitoring your genitalia, stalking you. Okay, that's P.O.C. They're spending money stalking, just like the state of California, spending money stalking me. Going to hotel rooms, hotels that keep the fake sunrise till sunset, spending money stalking me. 9FXR408, this is P.O.C. It is currently 6:34 a.m. Alrighty, this is the entity engaging in what is another cartwheel, and you're looking at the schedule. So this is blatant analysis, okay? So this is 6:30 in the morning. Specifically 6:35 in the morning, and I'm simultaneously uploading evidence, so never mind, I'm gonna move that to the side. 6:35 in the morning, 434 North Euclid Avenue. So when you're looking at the Ontario police that are gang stalking me, not only by helicopter, you're going to prison and you're blatantly stalking, but they're stalking in the specific environment where 12 hours from now, daylight savings time, there's not going to be in a natural environment the sun that's hovering over 5 North Euclid Avenue. But that's what I have on video. While the government is gang stalking, ARCO is gang stalking, Chevron is gang stalking, Unicare Community Health Center is gang stalking, the City of Ontario International Airport is gang stalking, and so are the Ontario Police Department while they are stalking by helicopter on video after 6 p.m. right here at 507 North Euclid Avenue as a matter of video evidence, and they're also stalking on the roads and the highways just like the people of the state. All right, and that's what's on the record already. And Ocean, that you see gang stalking, doing so confidently as though there's no consequences, they're going to prison. And so are the demons of the Ontario Police Department. 7JYU759 P.O.C. This is what you're getting to while the entity is, again, mentally ill. And this is the level of obvious engagement in that pattern of conduct. This is what UPS was doing in Upland, California. This is what the demon-possessed do when they are caught, when they are found guilty. And this is also a threat to the public. This is what I just want to be clear. You see this big plane hovering over an apartment complex. So you're in there being violated regarding your quiet enjoyment. All right. And the reason why they're not complaining is because they are engaged in criminal surveillance with the government that's doing cartwheels over the apartment complex and doing so what is scheduled. That's not a destination that is published on the website of Ontario International Airport. And they're doing so because that's the psychopath's means of crying about the Ontario police who are going to prison for gang stalking me after 6 p.m. with the corrupt business Starbucks. But they're also gang stalking with the corrupt business ARCO, who's at the same intersection 12 hours from now where the fake sun is still over me at the same location. That is aiding in what is the Ontario police being disbanded and stalking, because that's what this is. This is evidence of the Ontario police who are the kidnappers, who are the gang leaders of this corrupt system, this highly unintelligent system that I'm documenting. In the presence of Mike Lorenz and his mentally ill conduct of stalking me in helicopters, and in the absence, and that is only conspicuous absence because the Ontario police are always stalking. They are stalking vicariously while this demon, this vagina monitor, license 7JYU759, is stalking at the gas in impossible light,
And the RICO case is formed against ARCO that is making money, okay? This is the pattern of conduct, and these are the demon-possessed that are engaging in that, and this is the entity that's doing so. Again, the blatant disregard is going to be prosecuted as impunity because they're already guilty. The mentally ill are under a fake sun, and this is the cold disregard. This is why they're going to be separated from children. This is why they're being deported. This is why they're going to be prosecuted on the record as violent sex offenders, and this is pacing. The hefty body studying the device and the vehicle approaching 9CUJ595 pacing. An engineer light is on the ceiling. And they're doing this under the fake sun. This is what demons do when they are caught. And this is what they call witchcraft. This isn't witchcraft. The only energy they're getting is the energy that's included in what is going to prison. All right, so this would be prison for 9CUJ595. And she's so obsessed with me and my vagina, she happily goes there. Because that's what this is, enjoyment in the pattern of conduct, because they are obsessed with me. 7JYU759, these are the demon possessed. They are not human beings, these are demons. And the fake sun is on video, at this same venue on top of the Starbucks after 6 p.m. And there is a mass amount of people that are being federally prosecuted by that evidence. And that's just giving you an example with regard to the concession that the airport is making, the prosecution of the airport board and the executive team, Latif El-Qadi. All right, if this is an immigrant, Latif El-Qadi is being deported like any other enemy of this country that's gang stalking as an immigrant. This is P.O.C. Any other way, while I'm giving you example after example, and then UPS engages in what is an admission that they're gang stalking while they're witnessing their exposure. That's the entity that's engaging in what are acts of violence against you. This is what you're taking heed to when they are caught. The demon-possessed are engaging in criminal activity. They don't want you to know that they're not even humans, they're demons. This is the Nephilim. But they're showing that to you through their behavior. You will know them, and you'll know them by their deeds. And I'm pointing out many of their deeds that they're doing under the fake sun, stalking you and monitoring you. And they're severely mentally ill. Severely mentally ill. Keep to the left and the right. That fake sun is putting that vagina monitor in prison, separating it from children, making sure it's deported out of this country. You can mumble to yourself all you want. You're a demon, and you're going to be federally prosecuted like the enemy that you are. Look at that demon being triggered. That's a demon. It's triggered. That's a pattern of conduct. While they're stalking, while they are stalking, they are enemies while they're engaging it. Get that license plate because it's 9CUJ595. These are demons that are triggered while they're stalking. 7JYU759. That's a psychopath right here. That's what I want you to see, because that same trigger conduct is the UPS plane that's hovering over the downtown Ontario luxury apartments under the fake sun. This is the reality. That's a serial killer. That's a sex offender. That's a pedophile. That's a rapist. That's a cold-blooded killer that's engaging in what is gang stalking you. And is a bad actress acting like she's not concerned with me. She's obsessed with me. Going in the bathroom and stalking and monitoring my vagina. That's what's at the gas stall, and that's the federal RICO case. That's the enemy of this country. It doesn't have a race. It clearly doesn't have any sanity, and it is easily triggered with regard to the truth. This is the prosecution of the Ontario who are stalking with the population of the mentally ill. And 12 hours later, the fake sun is here while the population, a demon-possessed psychopath, is stalking, working at Starbucks, on the roads and the highways, murdering you while looking to the left and the right like nothing is happening. Okay, this demon easily flying off the handle because they are engaged in exactly what I said. Not having any race, no different. They're monitoring together. 6XUV534. This is P.O.C. And if that has any children, if they're already dead, they give birth to demons. They're not getting any government assistance. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct, criminal activity. This is P.O.C. and that's a threat to American citizens. That demon immediately manifesting for you to license, that's the license plate 5KDU684. They're speaking together. And they're engaging in that pattern of conduct as psychopaths. Don't forget that, because that's not an individual, that's an entity, that's a demon. And that's the same conduct when it's inaudible. Okay, they're not verbalizing it, but they're hovering over the apartment complex through a commercial plane such as UPS. When they're going into the adjacent city, obviously engaging and stalking you, that's that same hostility coming out. When they're pacing around you by helicopter for 25 minutes, that's that same hostility coming out because are exposed. And they are being defunded, they're being deported, they're being prosecuted and clearly identified as the population of the mentally ill monitoring entities that they are. And they're going by company name. ARCO's being prosecuted for everything that demon just said. ARCO's making money off of gang stalking. That's the government as you're going to prosecute it. All right, they're mentally ill and unstable, very much triggered because you know that they are demons and they're being prosecuted in front of all of you. Satan is humiliated. And that's exactly what Satan needs to be. Satan is the one giving up energy. Satan's the one that lost. Satan is the one that can't explain why they're stalking me so heavily, because they're demons. They are in fact demons. It's currently 6:42 a.m. and they were not targeting me because they were going to complete a sacrifice. They targeted me because it's my job to make sure that you know what Satan is doing. And they're doing so under a fake sun, so that you need to know the times that we're in, because the demon-possessed thought that they were going to disguise the environment that we're living in so that you are not able to suspect and recognize the times that we're in with regard to the return of Christ, where the demon-possessed are all around you, obsessively following you around and monitoring you, monitoring every detail of your life, including your genitalia and your children's genitalia. That's what's behind stalking at a gas station, stalking at an empty, vacant parking lot, and I document them to prosecute them. They're violent sex offenders, and they are unhinged psychopaths, just like the demons are showing you. Okay? That's Satan's true personality and Satan's true sentiments coming out. This is the P.O.C. under the fake sun. The fake sun's over this same parking lot at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, especially when I'm congregation on Sunday afternoons, and that fake sun remains over Bethel congregation. That fake sun remains over me at this parking lot. This is P.O.C. While the entities engage in that pattern of conduct under the fake sun, and they're speaking as one entity. So I want you to see the fake sun that moves as I move. There you go. And that's the entity that's engaging in surveillance. And they're in the buildings engaging in surveillance. They're in their homes engaging in surveillance. It's the same P.O.C. And this is the entity that's engaging in conspicuous surveillance and doing so while they are monitoring your devices as well. That's the pattern of conduct. There's no sunrise in Upland, California. There's no sunrise in Fontana, California. Okay, there's not going to be any sun, not in the natural environment. That's Darren Goodman. That's engaging in surveillance as I've documented it. I'm prosecuting him. All right, that is Marcelo Blanco. That's engaging in gang stalking me in Upland, California, as I'm documenting that. This is the entity that's Michael Dorsey, that's gang stalking me in Fontana, California, as I'm documenting that. This is the pattern of conduct. Those are the terrorist leaders that are targeting with the psychopaths. These are not sane people, and they're also not ignorant. They're very hostile. The more I hone in on them and the more I hone in on what they're doing, the more aggressive it comes out, because they seek to try to conceal that mental illness, that ongoing obsession. That is the silence looking to the left and the right. License 6X HX524, because Satan is very much unhinged. And so it behooves them to be silent. All right, but I'm documenting, and you're looking at those demons coming out. That's what's coming out of her face. That's a demon-possessed person. Oh, by the way, that's a defendant. So even in that speech, you're talking about prison. That's the government that's gang stalking you, engaging in criminal summoning, all manner of what is seeking to kidnap and murder. And you're speaking. The government is speaking as well while they're stalking you. You're going to... This is P.O.C. Pay attention to where they're engaging in the cartwheels. They're not going beyond, which is right here where my person is. And this is U.P.S., one plane after another, after another, after another. This is the entity that's clearly engaged in targeting. And then you're going to rewind the tape and look at that demon that was manifesting while she was manifesting right before you, and so are they flying in UPS planes. This is, the city of Ontario is fully exposed as an enemy, and this is relevant to what is the threat, where the president of the United States, okay, like I said, the one that is in the highest office in our land. Imagine you're talking about what is ordering the U.S. military to assassinate, take out American citizens, target them. Okay, and do so what's supposed to be in a clandestine manner, surreptitiously, all right, inconspicuously, in an elite manner where no one knows that it's actually the U.S. government that's murdering American citizens, targeting them and gang stalking them, pursuant to surveillance that the United States president, the White House, the government, the national government is maintaining, unbeknownst to you, with the people of the state that I'm documenting. In which case, that would make the president a domestic terrorist, a terrorist that's not from Afghanistan, a terrorist that's right here from the United States, a terrorist that's literally in office. That's a domestic terrorist. That's what the entity is engaging in while they are here amongst us. Understand that. And I also want to be clear. What I'm documenting from state to state, this ongoing surveillance system, which is including everyone everywhere, including those that are in office, this is not happening with regard to the ignorance of the president of the United States. So I'm just going to keep that right there. The president is not ignorant about what is going on regarding the government that is engaging in surveillance throughout the states. This is something that the government is fully apprised of. Be clear, it is his job and it's the national government's job to make sure that the president is apprised of what's happening, and that which the president is apprised of and is not taking any action toward and is not telling us, informing us about, is something that you need to be advised about as well. Pay attention. And this is why you have the police department so confidently gang stalking, and the president of the United States doesn't know that the police throughout the states are targeting American citizens. Is that what you think? Is that what you think? That they don't know that a whole airport's engaged in this? This is very clear, openly engaged in this. Openly. The police aren't doing anything in investigating that. The police are acting in conformity to it. And I've shown that from city to city, county to county. And the president that flies in and out of the states, that campaigns, all right, that's maintaining investigation and telling us about everything else that they find to be, that the presidency finds interesting and a threat, right, to American citizens, except for the fact that American citizens are being kept under surveillance. And this is something that perhaps is not threatening to the president, because this is something that the president is acting in conformity to, something that is happening on the watch of the president. And I'm going to keep that there, because it is unreasonable to contend that the United States president is ignorant about the fake sun that he's under at the Pentagon, at the White House, when he's giving speeches, when he's holding meetings, all right, when foreign leaders are coming to the United States and they're meeting under the fake sun. Because that's what that necessarily is while it's here in Ontario, California, and the government's engaging in this level of impunity. This is speaking to what is knowledge of the government. They're doing it with the consent of the government that's going to prosecute itself. This is what's happening, and this is what Christ Jesus said. It's actually happening because they don't have authority. You're looking at what is abusing authority in the physical, but they do not have authority over all like Christ Jesus is, and they are going to be federally prosecuted. And I just want you to be clear that the United States president is not reasonably ignorant about this. In fact, the United States president, I'm going to let you know, is watching me expose this and is also doing nothing about it. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:48 a.m. while the enemies of the United States are no longer able to cloak themselves as being those amongst us, patriotic Americans, red-blooded Americans, talking about making America great again. Is that while they're gang stalking those that they don't like in the United States? Is that what they call Americanism? Is that what they call patriotism? Is that what they call constitutional? They call that lawful. They call that something that is helping to make America great again. I'm just giving you an example because this is the reality. And these are the necessary natural implications that you're getting to, because the United States government is not ignorant are doing, and about what law enforcement, which is not law enforcement, what they're doing. They're doing so under the blessing of the federal government. This is P.O.C. Mr. Trump knows exactly what's going on in California, and so does Mr. Newsom. P.O.C. It is currently 6:49 a.m. Alrighty, pay attention to the license plates. The U.S. military, these psychopaths that are demons that go into the military, by the way, to get away with mass murders as well. This is the so-called Marines, and all they're doing is letting you know the United States is engaged in targeting American citizens through those that are sociopaths, psychopaths, demons that are actually gratified by harming other people and doing it, calling themselves law enforcement, military. This is a demon stalking in the path with light at the facilitated venue where they live, under the fake sun that's following me, while the airport is stalking by planes as these demons are molesting with impossible light. This is one that is identifying themselves as the Marines. The Marines are targeting you. This is what you're getting from this. The U.S. Marine Corps, USMCLA, gang stalking, and very much an enemy of the United States while they're gang stalking any American citizen. This is P.O.C. and doing so with the people of the state. All right, this is the people of the state that's at 124 North Euclid Avenue, where I documented with the Ontario Police Department a whole scene regarding criminal summoning, helicopter activity with the U.S. military that's gang stalking. And I want to be clear, the U.S. military, these are a bunch of cowards. These are vagina monitors that are engaged in what is using psychological torture tactics against innocent, unsuspecting American citizens. They're not heroes. All right, those aren't strong, courageous men either, and women. They're cowards, and they're the demons that are gang stalking, holding up the American flag while you're engaged in that pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. It's criminal activity. Like I said, veteran, non-veteran, immigrant, demon-possessed gang stalker. There's no status change amongst them. They are enemies, and this is what you need to recognize. This is the P.O.C. The fake sun is over me at 7:22 a.m. I'm in an entirely different county and city while the fake sun is remaining over me. This is targeting, and they're associated with the U.S. Marine Corps, and that's what you need to know about what's targeting American citizens. P.O.C. (9T Yolanda Wendy 700). Just want you to pay attention to the radiant light on the sign. These are demons, all of them, and this is how important I am. They line up to stalk me. They spend money to stalk me. They spend the most extravagant amount of resources to stalk me. 8AOC 827, this is the inferior race, the demon possessed. 7R40710 is pacing with a lily white woman that's obsessed with my vagina. 9 Apple Victor Frank 671 is the means of identifying her. And she's a co-conspirator of my murder. That's how much she's obsessed with me, which motivates her to try to murder me. And she's accomplishing that by gang stalking me with the government. 9 Xavier Thomas 020. And none of this traffic is going to cause the light activity that you can see on the sign. This is stalking in the path, stalking in the neighborhood by place of residence, which is also proven in the images you'll see. The city of Ontario flying over the top of my head, where the demon-possessed are studying their devices, stalking 4406113 with minors, 1L3, excuse me, and doing so under the fake sun, a population of mentally ill people, the demon-possessed, okay? And the entity Ontario Montclair School District, just like the demons in their utility vehicles in 7HXA570, no distinction, no difference with regard to stalking with impossible light. Those are pedophiles, those are serial killers, those are stalkers that are driving around the demon-possessed children that are all gang stalking together. Okay, P.O.C, that's not sunlight. It's 52800G3, and these are demons that look to the left and the right, and as I hone in and zoom in on their faces where you can see the demons, they begin manifesting like the demon that has a documented history of stalking me and is at ARCO manifesting before your eyes. Okay, they're engaging in this pattern of conduct as a population. These are dead people, and they are also making up the U.S. military that are on assignment, targeting American citizens, murdering them. All right, stalking them, tracking them down, and you need to understand that they are using what are the military skill set in order to engage in what are murdering American citizens, targeting them. And this is what the United States president is not ignorant about. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. And these demons, these local, unintelligent, unsophisticated barbarians, these vagina monitors with no tact, no method, sloppy, are engaging in the pattern of conduct on behalf of the U.S. government. And this is the exposure of the U.S. government while you have a bunch of imbeciles gang stalking me. Okay, and this is speaking to what are epic damages and what is also an epic amount of people that are going to prison. That's what this is tantamount to. And this is what happens when the U.S. government is gang stalking you. 79876D3, and this is the entity that's engaging what is mentally ill behavior together. They're mentally ill, speaking to using your business to stalk me. All right, using commercial planes and helicopters to stalk me. Devoting a whole police department in every city to stalk me. That's exactly what the U.S. government is engaging in, and that's why I'm documenting a pattern of conduct. And they are the Nephilim that are under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. This is, I want to be clear, on San Antonio, which is west of this location. The entity had the fake sun. I'm east of San Antonio, and the entity is keeping the fake sun, which is east of my person. This is not going to be over me, what is west over, while I'm documenting the people that state by license plate by house number, okay? This is where the demon possessed, where the entity is stalking with a fake sun. All right, communication device in tow, monitoring. All right, demons that are under the age of majority, and they will not be receiving any government assistance for their demon-possessed children. These are enemies. These are enemies of the country. They're not under any circumstances going to further exhaust the resources where American citizens that are being targeted, that actually need assistance, that the government is legitimately interested in aiding, those are the ones that are going to be receiving assistance. And whatever ways, I'm just speaking generally, you're not getting food stamps, you're not getting rent assistance, you're not going to participate as a company in any government program while the companies are engaged in the pattern of conduct. It's going both ways. You're not getting any home loans or refinancing with regard to government programs. You're not getting any food stamps because you're demon-possessed children, which you are admittedly speaking to your inability to take care of them, and the government is interested in taking custody of those children. This is an entity that is going to be treated as the enemies that they are while you're looking at them targeting an American citizen. They are targeting you. All right, and this is prosecuting what is domestic terrorism in the United States. No conspiracy theory here. Okay, the U.S. Army is gang stalking. The U.S. Marines, they're gang stalking. Okay, the United States Air Force, they're gang stalking. This is the P.O.C. All right, it is currently, while the demon possessors are stalking with light, showing you their mental illness, the mentally ill are going into law enforcement and the military to gang stalk you. License 37571 SAM2. And this is, again, they are under the leadership. Our commander-in-chief is not ignorant about what the United States military is engaging in. And I will go ahead and give my own commentary. They are particularly unskilled in doing that. And I don't have to have ever been in the military, but you see me prosecuting them, they're imbeciles. Stalking with impossible light. They stand out like a sore thumb. They're idiots. They're just crazy. And that's why I so easily prosecuted them, because they're crazy. This is P.O.C. 61999 Mary 2. They're getting locked up. They're going into facilities. They're going to mental institutions. They're getting deported out of this country. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:37 a.m. 9JOH575. This is impossible light activity while demons are targeting. Driving under the sun doesn't cause light to the side of your vehicle. All right, that's targeting by demons. 7YCR428. This is Upland. Demons that are in Upland, California. And everything that you see in the video above is that which is occurring at the same venue. This is the same 7-Eleven. And this is at what is 8:22 in the morning. And what you see at the same venue is at 7:09 p.m. where the supernatural is captured in order to prosecute under a federal RICO, 7-Eleven, Gulf, all these companies that are represented, Allure Image, Omnitrans, Alsco, the people of the state stalking on the roads and the highways, which is proven while they're stalking with impossible light activity, the demon-possessed that are being federally prosecuted in the U.S., the entities engaging in that, it's never going to happen. So the gang stalker 08242E3 is engaging in the same pattern of conduct where they engage in that and they think the refraining from stalking with impossible light is evidence that they're not all stalking. It is the exact opposite. The sun is never going to be at the same address, which is what I'm capturing now. This stalker right here is engaging in the same criminal activity that this stalker is right here in the evening, stalking in the path under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. These are demons that are engaging in all manner of criminality, all manner of terrorism while their mental illness is used to target other people, stalking you with their back to you, communication device in tow, also going into the bathroom and keeping your genitalia under surveillance because these aren't humans. These are the Nephilim, the demon possessed, okay? They're obsessed with your genitalia. They're obsessed with everything about you, and they also want to murder you. They also want to have sex with you. They're demons. Satan is a sex offender, but they want to take your life. And this is the government that's doing so through the U.S. government, the U.S. military, okay? This is surrounding. So let's look at what's happening at 7:09 p.m. yesterday, because this is the prosecution of the U.S. government that's engaged in gang stalking right now, and I'm going to prosecute them. This is the entity that's engaged in that in furtherance of murder. It's P.O.C.
This is the city of Ontario, making itself indistinguishable from the city of Upland. All right, that's the P.O.C. This is being prosecuted as the city of Upland. So this foolishness that I'm documenting, people of the state in Upland, California that are gang stalking, where Upland City Hall is in relevant position. And I want to be clear, Bill Velto is going to be removed from office for gang stalking with the city of Ontario, the Ontario International Airport. Doing so while any city is engaging in criminal activity within your jurisdiction and you are sharing in that, are they engaging in that? This is very foolish and obvious conduct where the entity is engaging in this level of incriminating everyone else, but they're not innocent because they're engaging in the pattern of conduct. In the absence of Alan D. WAPNER admitting that he's gang stalking me in Ontario, California, in the absence of Michael GERKEN admitting that he's gang stalking me in Ontario, California, coming to Upland to do so, and to confirm that you needed it, that the city of Upland are full of demons. Yep. This is the P.O.C. And this is where the entity had the fake sun over me in the morning. This is Upland, California at the same intersection. This is a stalker in the path, a short, hefty one. All right, engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while they are driving an engineer light, keeping a fake sun, which is in alignment. That's not the sun, and this is where the Ontario International Airport is stalking in the path, where they're doing the same thing at the Ovid Family Community Library, where the sun is not in Upland, California, at the intersection of what is...
Let me repeat that. The business is stalking, these demons are stalking, and they're mentally ill. Just like you see the demon manifesting at Arco, that demon was ready to start contorting and her head twisting around her head. Her head twisting around her shoulders, her body. They're manifesting out of anger, and they do the same thing when they start stalking with impossible light, which is what the demons in Upland and California are doing. They're doing so under the fake sun. You're looking at and discerning demons and seeing them and identifying them and prosecuting them not based on their outfit, not based on their facial expression, but their facial expression will show you that hideousness regarding what is demon possession and criminal activity. This demon is under a fake sun that is here at 7 in the evening, and there is evidence that is speaking to that, and they don't have to say a word. I will prosecute you. This is impossible to coexist, and that's how you know what this is, a stalker and a demonic one. And you're going to prosecute the business. This is a federal RICO case. You're making money while you're engaged in surveillance and further into murdering a specific targeted individual. And all manner of impossible light activity is over here. This is 7-Eleven that also engaged in what is poisoning me. They're going to prison, the ones that are working on the inside right now, ringing up the demons. They're going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. The entities engaged in this while the Ontario International Airport, those geniuses, come to Upland, California under the fake sun, which is, again, like I said, Bill Velto, that's welcoming terrorism. The United States president is not ignorant about these gang stalking mayors and the gang stalking governor, Newsom. They just play politics to keep you distracted. They're on the same team. They're targeting American citizens. This is P.O.C. You're talking about intelligence, classified information. The government, the United States president is not ignorant about what the entire city of Ontario is engaged in. They would be entirely incompetent for the national government to not be aware of, for them not to maintain meetings in the Pentagon about what I'm exposing. And I know that they are. They are engaging in this pattern of conduct, and I'm going to prosecute you, regardless of how elite you thought you were, hiding in Washington, D.C., hiding in a bathroom in Upland, California. I'm going to prosecute you like the demon that you are. There's nothing elite about you vagina monitoring psychopaths. They're engaging in psychotic behavior. They both want to have sex with you, and they also want to murder you. They want your blood all over the place. This is how psychotic they are. Impossible light across the roof of that gas station is what is confirming that. That's absolutely impossible. These are demons who are stalking. P.O.C.
The sun is not in Upland, California, at the intersection of what is
9th Avenue.
Euclid Avenue. This is the cross street of 8th Street, I believe. No, 8th is down there. This would be
9th.
Let me get this intersection. 9th Street and Euclid Avenue is not over the Open Family Community Library. It's not in alignment with the Open Family Community Library, where the Ontario International Airport is keeping that fake sun and stalking by flying over the Ontario City Hall. This is near the Upland City Hall, which is at 451 North Euclid Avenue. And this is where that was UPS. And that's where the Ontario International Airport, psychopaths and idiots flying miles away and then lowering in elevation.
This is not sunlight. What is this that right here that's during the 8 a.m. hour? And for the sun to still be here and light to be across this street, they're all stalking. This is surveillance that's underway in the United States. And the United States government, who are demon-possessed, they hate Christ Jesus, and they literally tried to surround us all with a fake environment. This is the work of Satan that's engaging what is using the United States government to maintain an environment around us that is artificial. All right, and they call this genius. This is what they thought. This is what Elon Musk, this is what these demons think is a work of art, a genius, and it's not. It's asinine. And I'm prosecuting them by it. And they're doing this with regard to the truth of the Word of God and the truth regarding the signals that you are getting from the environment, because this isn't the sun. And they put a fake sun under there so that you would not recognize it. But a 5th grader understands that sunlight isn't reaching underneath a covered structure. These are demons who are stalking, psychopathic in nature as well, looking all around everywhere, all right, while they're engaging in gang stalking. When they address me, that ongoing rage like you see the demons engaging in at ARCO in Ontario, that's what comes out. That's why they look to the left and right, because the demons are triggered while I speak the truth. All right, you can be as quiet as you want because science is putting them in mental institutions and in prison. P.O.C. The city of Upland is gang stalking. The city of Ontario is gang stalking. The fake sun is still here as I'm leaving the Upland Public Library. Upland Public Library is right up here. All right, so you're talking about what's remaining over the roof of the Upland Public Library, where Adam Tuckerman is indeed a vagina monitor. And the entity is very much triggered because I'm speaking the truth about what you are based on what you're doing. And moreover, it's not just your criminal conduct, it's your demon possession. P.O.C. license plate. On the roads and the highways, they're going to be federally prosecuted. They commit murder in vehicles on the freeways. They don't have car accidents. 6A IA 301, crossing path. This is P.O.C. This is referencing the video of the fake sun over the same video at 7:06 p.m. That's impossible. Where the impossible is happening is where Satan is engaging what is keeping you under surveillance. This is P.O.C. and this is a massive federal RICO case. Every business in the state of California, on the internet as well, engaging in surveillance. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently 10:09 a.m. and the following is showing you how there is no respecter of persons regarding, first of all, the spiritual truth regarding demon possession and criminal activity amongst the demon possessed, where I am located, which is in California, and this is state action where the government's engaging in surveillance. And so this is also showing what is public corruption that exists amongst the entity that's supposed to act as though nothing is happening, and something is clearly happening. These are the mentally ill that are engaging in the pattern of conduct. This is the city of Upland that's engaging in criminal monitoring with minor children. The Upland Public Library is going to be removed from existence. It's a waste of criminal expenditure of funds. 8 FTT 203 is actually monitoring with a bunch of demon-possessed children. All right, and they're sharing in the psychopathic pattern of conduct while the fake sun is over the top of my head. And you're mindful of where I'm at, because I'm at this same block where the Ontario Fire Department are gang stalking at 7 o'clock in the evening yesterday. You'll see that in images where you're stalking, looking straight up, being white, okay, is serving the pattern of conduct, because that's never going to be stalking a black person, doing so under the fake sun on behalf of the government, across the street from the Upland Unified School District, 7JXP169, stalking with impossible light all over the ground, outside of the windows where I'm inside at this time, and the fake sun is shining over the roof. It's not over the roof. It's not even compared. It's outside to the side of the building. This is not going to be seen over the roof, like what I'm documenting when these demons are going inside, monitoring 65158 Victor 3, and they're monitoring right now. And this is the entity that's engaged in that. So this is psychopathic pacing. Their demon-possessed children are psychopaths as well. They're demon-possessed. So I just want to be clear. The demons that are within these children don't have an age. You have the spirit of Satan that is using minor children, that are monitoring. They don't have to be taught that. 9FJP892. And the Upland Public Library is going into the library, keeping me under surveillance through their children, which are pacing around, engaging in the demonic behavioral pattern, which is mentally ill behavior. They are today engaging in the pattern of conduct, and you're understanding the landmark. So I'm using Upland Public Library while I'm inside, capturing the fake sun outside of this window after 5 p.m. At all hours of the day when I'm inside of the library, and this is it right now, and it's remaining over me while the cute kitty music and the demon-possessed children are gang stalking with the government, 9PJX475, and this is going to be the removal of what is the criminal expenditure of resources. They don't need a city council. They certainly don't need a police department. The demons, Baltic and Chin, demonstrate that inside of the Vons in Upland, California, stalking me and harassing me while I'm documenting criminal activity by the city of Upland. The entities engaging in this while they are keeping a fake sun as I'm walking down the street, walking in this area. I document all these license plates. This is the inclusion of minor children. This is the mentally ill population. This is the Nephilim that are procreating, by the way. And this is the government that's using the masks that are the people of the state. This is very sick behavior, and it's criminal. It's highly malicious. These are the same demons stalking with the possible light. This is the same pattern of conduct. Fake sun reflecting off of the windshield. 8ZFM428. Do not be deceived by the character of the music. It sounds cute, right? Sounds innocent. This is in furtherance of murder. And this is outside of these windows when I'm present after 5 p.m. That's impossible to be the natural environment, and they're pacing. 8ZFM428 is pacing. They're mentally ill. This is the same conduct of the demon stalking with the planes. UPS doing cartwheels over downtown Ontario luxury apartments. The demon that's manifesting at the gas stall. 81205A4. This is mentally ill conduct. They're stalking one person. And they're all demons stalking the one person that they know who they're targeting. This is not a stranger under the fake sun in Upland, California. 7VRU699. This is P.O.C. In the natural environment, which is the evidence, not the character of the personality or the age of the actor or the location where it's at or the uniform or the position that they hold or their name, or how much you like them and you don't want to believe it. The evidence is speaking for itself, and the sun is not going to be outside of the windows of the same video over the roof, anywhere on the street. What is 7, 8, 9 hours from now. And this is what I'm documenting. This is public corruption. This is the Marcelo Blanco that's stalking me by helicopter. Cable Airport that's stalking me by planes. Ontario International Airport that's gang stalking in the city of Upland with the on behalf of the U.S. government. That's the state of California. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:13 a.m. where the entity is maintaining an environment where the demon-possessed are while I'm inside of the library, amplifying what is impossible. You cannot hear these little demons. You can hear little demons, but you can't hear these children walking upstairs on the second floor above me in the study room. When they're using the bathroom, it's not going to cause ongoing amplified audible activity. But with demons that are under the age of majority, no matter what their size are, because they're demon-possessed, and these are employees who are going to prison. She's one of them, Kiki. She's one of them that are going to federal prison, engaged in kidnapping. And this activity, relevant positioning, light activity, and this is facilitation. It's also criminal activity with minor children, which is also a basis of federal prison. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct, lacking any legitimacy at all. And this is the city of Upland that is incorporating the pattern of conduct with their little demonic babies. So this is opening up your mind. This is not hating children. The innocence of children is that what remains. But I want to be clear that you need to understand that Satan is hijacking, and they are born. These are cursed people. So these are people that chose Satan, and then they're procreating. And you need to know the reality regarding the threat, because they are specifically using children to deceive you, okay, while they're monitoring you. Monitoring is resulting in what is murdering and kidnapping people. Monitoring through minor children is used also as a means of what is making the target individual even appear as a predator when a child is engaging with a psychological torture tactics. They don't have to say a word, they're engaging in the P.O.C. All right? This is the way in which the entity is engaging in that P.O.C. It is currently, while I'm at the intersection, 10:15 a.m., there's a body of evidence of history right here. And even yesterday, the fake sun's right here while Ontario's in Upland gang stalking me, which is Upland gang stalking me. All right, this is the criminal activity of the government while the Upland Public Library is engaging in the P.O.C. Exhibit A. All right, and when those homosexual cult members of Teamsters were beside me pulling up yesterday while the fake son pulled up next to me like this, they were gang stalking. Stalking as a gang of demons that are engaging in a pattern of conduct, which is shared amongst those that are not 3 years old yet. It's the same pattern of conduct. They're monitoring. And that's the government. That's the government that's being removed from the positions that they hold. Bill Velto, which is feet away at the Upland City Council. Okay, and this is the pattern of conduct. And I want to be clear, systematic monitoring, like what Adam Tucker and Kiki and the rest of the demons that work inside of the Upland Public Library. And before Adam Tucker, the demon that was engaged in what is sitting as the director of the Upland Public Library, there's no statute of limitations. There's nowhere that you're going to run. You engaged in kidnapping and you're going to prison for it. Nobody forgot. No one has forgotten, and you're still engaging in the pattern of conduct. I don't care if you moved to Indiana, where they never have a sunrise. You're on the record engaging in kidnapping, and you're going to answer for it. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:16 a.m. where you're looking at the fake sun moving around the building, leaving from being above the little children, speaking to them, engaging in what is targeting. Those are psychopaths who are hostile and aggressive, and they hide it behind smiles on their faces. This is very much real regarding the aggression and the hostility of a demon-possessed entity that did not want to be discerned and does not want to know what it is that they are doing. But you already know what they are doing, and it is the P.O.C. It is currently 10:17 a.m. And the entity has the fake sun, as I'm showing you here. Upland City Hall coming out gang stalk, and I took a picture of that demon. She went right back inside of the Upland City Hall, representing that city hall that's keeping me under surveillance. But they don't even have to come outside. They're monitoring right now. They're inside representing communication devices. As you're walking inside of buildings, walls and ceilings and floors are no obstruction regarding crossing a path. They're stalking right now while I'm outside and they're inside. They're crossing path, and they are obsessively making sure that they're remaining in my path. That's what traffic is. It's surveillance. Under a fake sun that's still here after 4 p.m., like I'm documenting Amazon Prime gang stalking, like I'm documenting AMR engaging in criminal summoning, like I'm documenting Colin SHEEHY, who's at the San Bernardino County Fire Department right here in the same Upland Civic Center. P.O.C. It is currently 10:17 a.m. Larry Edward Frank 771. Gang stalking at Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue. Fake moon remaining over me, not going in Fontana, remaining over the Fontana Lewis Library. It's remaining over me as I'm on Euclid Avenue. And this is how you're identifying the Ontario International Airport. But this is again, training about recognizing the specific environment so that you all know what is going on out here with regard to demons, with regard to demonic activity, with regard to criminal monitoring, with regard to public corruption amongst the government. This is the significance of the environment. I'm showing you, remember the fake moon? Okay, so it's in Fontana, over me, moving over the bus to be over me in Ontario where I get off at the bus stop. I'm coming from Upland in an entirely different direction. The fake moon is not over the Fontana Lewis Library tonight. It's over me, and it's just uncanny how the moon, well, you see what it is with the fake sun, and even at nightfall, the moon is over me where I'm at, and in a totally different location than it is when I'm in another city. And so this is the entity that's engaging what is stalking with that environment. And the entity is already documented engaging in what is an egregious level of obvious stalking, including ARCO 7 Henry Wendy Xavier 195. Gang stalking with the customers, pacing 9 Robert Xavier Frank 197, sexual assault and battery with a minor female in the back. 5 Paul Henry Yolanda 690. This is what they were doing this morning under the fake sun, engaging in harassment while those demons began manifesting as I'm documenting them. They're mentally ill. That's why they're pacing under a fake moon. 5 Thomas Sam Paul 366. 8 Mary Jerry Thomas 264. And stalking with light in the parking lot, the ARCO parking lot. And this is again documentation of the ARCO employees that are all gang stalking. I'm going to prosecute all of them, and I'm going to prosecute ARCO. The entities engage in this while they are aiming like this is psychopathic pacing, while the demons at ARCO are literally driving in a circle. They're driving around, pacing around on the property. 9 Robert Sam Jerry 189. This is P.O.C. The entities engage in this conduct, stalking with light, which is mentally ill behavior, and they have already engaged in what is, they're already in the process of being prosecuted, meaning the federal government is going to come in and execute what has already been accomplished through this case. And they're still stalking until that moment happens. It's the same with the Ontario Police. It's the same with the military that are stalking me using commercial planes. It's the same with the Ontario International Airport that's being shut down. This is the entity that's just engaging in that until the very last second. And I'm also going to prosecute for that. Okay, I want to be clear, this is relevant to those that are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and it does not matter what your role is. It does not matter with regard to whether you decided to stop conspiring my murder and stop stealing from me and helping other people and defaming my character. You need to understand that with regard to an ordinary target individual, it doesn't matter. You're very much focused on yourself. And you are absolutely irrelevant but for gang stalking and furtherance of murdering someone. So nobody, in other words, really cares about your emotions while you are engaging in what is trying to undo the damage that you have done. But that's not how it works, by the way, with criminal law. You engage in what is murdering somebody and nobody cares that you're apologetic after the fact. They want to prosecute you because that's what justice requires. All right, and so I just want to be clear, anyone that is engaged in what is calling yourselves assisting the feds after working with the feds and trying to kill me, and trying to make sure that you can steal my identity and my reputation in doing so, these are people that you will have nothing to do with where I'm going, which is away from here, and you will not be joining. This does not make you a friend. There will be no celebration or anything. I'm stating this because the entities such as Jason Fields is a part of the military that have been targeting me my entire life. And doing so with regard to what is intending to kill me. So we are not going to be buddies after this because you had a change of heart one night after a homosexual ritual or something, and then something just made you feel different, and now you're giving information to help an investigation. That's great. That's between you and Christ. And there's no teamwork here. And I will be, as the evidence shows, the entity is psychotic and threatening. And regardless of how you feel about yourself, I will not be reconciling, associating, communicating with anybody that had anything to do with this at any point in time. And there will also be no basis where you are going to require me to do that in order to get what belongs to me in the first place, under circumstances where you are a criminal and you remain a criminal in the eyes of an American citizen. In the eyes of an American citizen that can't speak for you, remain a criminal. And that's exactly what I would prosecute you as, were I representing somebody else in a courtroom. This is an entity that's engaging in conduct, and there is no at distance agreement regarding you being on my team and you're responsible for the P.O.C. and you didn't help anything. You helped in trying to have my life taken and trying to oppress me and silence me. That's what you helped to do. Whatever midnight change of heart that you had, I really don't even care about that because as far as the evidence goes, I've been prosecuting by myself and I'm still outside by myself. You're not sleeping outside with me. You're not you're not engaging in what is being, while the entity is stalking me by helicopter. You're not sitting there by me. You're not sitting there sharing the documentation. You're not sitting up charging my phone up. You're not telling me what direction the next plane is coming from. You're not over here or out here, nor have you been at all. In fact, you were engaging in this demonic conduct the entire time, whoever you are, and you know who you are, and so do I. And I also know, and everyone else needs to witness, which is why I'm including it, because it is directly relevant to the entirety of the case. You will not have any ties to me, and you cannot manufacture that. And doing what is the right thing to do does not create any sort of relationship or obligation from me to you at all. You never had any business gang stalking anyone in the first place. And you're delusional to think that that's going to result. Okay, it's very disturbing, even the notion of any sort of romantic or friendship or otherwise when someone is in my position, and that's the last thing that I'm thinking about. I'm prosecuting, and it's a distraction, and it's something that is disconcerting with regard to basically someone and people that I don't want to have anything to do, and I'm not going to have anything to do with you. Why? I'm not going to break bread with you. I'm not going to sit at a table with you when you've engaged in this pattern of conduct. And it's just a matter of what is principles. And this is something that should be automatically and naturally known. But you're dealing with people that are mentally ill, that really engaged in this conduct and really believe that you were successful because you've engaged in successfully killing other people and stealing from other people in the past. No, I will not have anything to do with you. The fact that you are ever at any level to participate or have anything to do with this, or people that have anything to do with this in the first place, you have been disqualified. You are not a candidate, and it will never happen. It is, I've said this time, and I've said it time and time again, and this is the reality regarding what is not in the mistakes whatsoever for anybody, especially those that engaged in what is having the most to do with it, and that is when you were having sex with Tracy Banks. You are the most engaged in targeting me and targeting my reputation and targeting what is my work that I've done with regard to prosecuting and enforcing my rights. And anything that you've done to try to rehabilitate that is impossible, because it will always be a matter of what is my will regarding whether I will communicate with you. And I've already given my answer. I will not. It will not happen. It's not a contingency based on whether I win a case. I already won a case, and I won a case without you. I won a case in spite of you. I won a case over you. You are the one that I'm prosecuting, and that's not based on whether you're giving now helpful information or not. I just want to make sure that that's clear, because it seems to me that people are confused about what makes up an enemy and what makes up one that is on your team or not on your team. I am a one-woman team. Nobody has been out here gang stalking and also at the same time is on my team. That's impossible. You're not doing both. And you also are not doing the former, and then all of a sudden you're just my buddy. I haven't even had a conversation with you. And that is literally something that's within my will, whether I will or not. And I will not. I don't want anyone that had anything to do with this. There will be no. And anyone and everyone think you have all these plans. None of those plans are coming to fruition. None of them. I have no intentions of having anything to do, and I want to make sure that this is abundantly clear, because these cult members that have plans about partying and hanging out, and none of that's going to happen. Absolutely none of it. This is the entity that's engaging with is gang stalking me and then thinking that we're going to kiss and make up. None of that's going to happen. And what you really need to understand is if Tracy Banks is out, and she's out for life, love her, wish her the best, hope she figures it out. She is out. What in you thinks that you have any, you do not. It will never happen. It's never going to happen. And I want you to listen to the government stalking, because this is your confirmation. It will never, ever happen. Under the fake moon at 8:33 p.m. with the people of the state, the very entity that will not be under any circumstances calling my phone. We're not emailing each other. We're not meeting up. We're not reconciling. We're not going out anywhere. We're not celebrating with each other. We're not going to get in contact in the future. As clearly as you hear the fact that I'm being gang stalked and I'm documenting it and I was prosecuting by myself, you didn't help create one policy. You were not there to let me sleep on a couch. In fact, many of you were celebrating what's going on. Nobody forgot about that. It's not about forgiveness. It's about the fact that it happened and it's not forgotten. And there are consequences for the things that you have decided to do. And as a result, I am making a decision, and my decision, my executive decision has been that not one of you that had anything to do with this will have anything to do with my future either. That was decided while you were having group sex and praying to Satan about my downfall. You are the one that is late to the party. You're late. It will not happen. And I have made that decision in the same way that I have decided how I'm going to prosecute the U.S. government. I have already decided that all of you that had anything to do with this will have nothing to do with when I get out of this. And that's exactly what's happening. And you will not be a part of that either. It is currently 8:34 p.m. and this is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is Marcelo Blanco. It's not a resignation. He's being relieved as a terrorist. And these demons at the intersection, 6 Yolanda Paul 965. I have her big hair, the wig she has on, gang stalking at the intersection with the Upland Police Department. All right, this is the entity that, again, they get bad ideas as I publish the evidence. Mike LORENZ is going to prison, and Marcelo Blanco is following Darren Goodman right to the same destination. He's going to prison. Flying over this intersection, I'm capturing video as soon as possible, but they're stalking right here. Flying right here over the intersection, right over the homes, right where you see this amber light. That's not no sunset. Where they're flying, I'm on San Antonio and 8th Street in the morning. UPS is gang stalking 82256 George 1. And in the morning, the fake sun is here. That's not a sunset. Marcelo Blanco is a demon, and he's a foolish demon who's going to prison as well. Okay, these are the demon-possessed that are engaged in that pattern of conduct. They are very much triggered. They're mentally ill. So as I publish the evidence, this is just giving you the psychological background, because under all circumstances, the criminal activity is there. I'm capturing and they're going to prison. Gang stalking with police officers is federal prison. And this is what they're doing on the roads and the highways. AWBX 248, that's why it's imprudent to stalk me and molest with impossible light under a fake sun, because everybody knows what you're doing. License 9 PYN 526, stalking with Marcelo Blanco and furtherance of murder and kidnapping. License 9YRA 067, and they are stalking at the stoplight. License plate 8SMX 489. And the demons are gang stalking inside of the Upland Public Library as well. This is P.O.C. License plate 6WXR281, stalking with the Upland Police Department. 8TQV 736. This is federal prison. And this is mentally ill behavior. This is not traffic. They're engaged in pacing. This is psychopathic pacing, and this is where the entity is keeping a fake sun. I'm walking here in the morning. Took pictures of license plates in the morning. This is the fake sun. They're all demons. They're all stalking. The living dead are going to prison. They're going to, in this country, they're going to fill them up. And mental institutions. This is P.O.C. Marcelo Blanco is going to be amongst them. He's going to federal prison. Okay? Just like his brother in Satan, Mike LORENZ, they're going to prison. They're all over the internet engaging in what is beyond a reasonable doubt and even to a scientific degree. That's above the legal standard. It is more than beyond a reasonable doubt that they are engaged in furtherance of murder, which is why a police department, not just Marcelo, not just Mike LORENZ, are stalking. They're doing that to commit murder. After having defamed my character, and they engaged in kidnapping. These are two agencies that are being disbanded. Understand that. They don't need a police department. They don't even have one. Their stalking is being disbanded, period. You're engaged in kidnapping, they're being disbanded. They're engaged in criminal activity. This is lawlessness. This is why you have demons monitoring my vagina. All of them are sex offenders. They're being disbanded. Okay? And it goes into the city of Ontario that's being disbanded as well. And this is going to discover monies, resources for the city, where those that are being targeted are living outside and the government's talking about they don't have any resources, because the demon possessed are sucking up all those resources, including those that are engaging in terrorism like Marcelo Blanco's department. And it's going bye-bye. You're going to discover many funds. And the terrorist leader, Bill Velto, I just want to be clear. You see this fake son? You saw that helicopter activity? He's out of office. He engaged in what is kidnapping. I'm going to federally prosecute. They're called terrorists, and terrorists are going to be prosecuted. And as you can see, they're not too bright. They are not too intelligent at all. There's a history of evidence of the fake son being over me at this ARCO, being over me at this intersection from morning until evening. Marcelo Blanco is engaged in stalking me while I'm documenting the people of the state. And that's fine, because you know what you get stalking while I document the terrorists? Because they're getting documented. You're going to prison now while I document the gang stalkers of a police department stalking me with you. That's where they're going to federal prison. And this is what I mean. Well, a lot of people, you're talking about everybody in the intersection going to federal prison, and they're not hiding anywhere. You're not going anywhere. I know exactly where to find you. This is P.O.C. It is currently, that's light activity by VCI. And they're gang stalking right here at this venue, heavily engaged in the pattern of conduct. Here's my shadow appearing on their house. They're gang stalking with their minor children. Those are demons pacing inside of the venue right now. You're not free to engage in that. They're engaged in the pattern of conduct of furtherance of murdering somebody that they're keeping under surveillance with the people of the state. And VCI, that's creating light activity at the light. Okay? Pattern of conduct. I want to get this. License plate 7CFK838. They're murderers and they're sex offenders who give birth to demons, and they're gang stalking with those minor age demons. 5PYX651. This is P.O.C. Marcelo Blanco is leading in criminal conduct, leading in terrorism, leading in un-American lawlessness, and he is being relieved of his duties. And it's a matter of public information. He is a homegrown terrorist that's been hiding amongst us and is responsible for the criminal activity that I'm subject to, that I'm documenting in the city of Upland, which is shared in the city of Ontario, and even beyond the city of Ontario, as I'm showing you, in Fontana, in San Bernardino, in Rancho Cucamonga, in Pomona, California, in Montclair, where the entity's engaging in this gang stalking system. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:18 p.m. where Marcelo Blanco finds it necessary to threaten an American citizen by stalking them and psychologically torturing them. And for that, he is going to prison, and they're going to federal prison with regard to what are mental examinations. Everybody in this neighborhood, while the police are stalking, they tell on everyone, and this is justice. Upland is engaged in criminal surveillance, and they're engaged in targeting American citizens. These are gang members. P.O.C. P.O.C. This is UPS documenting with the people of the state. I documented their license plates. That's a pattern of conduct. License NP130, engaging in harassment and furtherance of murder and psychological torture while stalking with the Upland Police Department, the City of Upland, and UPS in particular, and the Ontario International Airport. This is the pattern of conduct, and this is the entity that, I want to be clear, I'm holding up the middle finger. This is the entity that is it. She's doing so as though she knows that she accomplished something with regard to what I'm documenting. All right. This is the entity that's engaged in stalking with UPS and feeling as though you've accomplished something. And she has. She's accomplished a case as a terrorist. And if she has any minor children, those children are also going to be treated as a threat while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct, okay, as a household of the mentally ill. This is the entity that's engaged in what is a U-turn over the 10 freeway. And everybody on the 10 freeway is also gang stalking. And this is everybody that's sharing in what is harassment as well. This is 7th Street and Euclid Avenue, where in Upland, California. This is Ontario, California, right here on the opposite side. And the entity is maintaining the fake sun as I'm coming down. And on Upland is maintaining harassment, stalking by helicopter, gang stalking as I'm going into Ontario. That's what you're paying attention to right here. This is the prosecution of the state. License 6 Sam Robert Victor 465. Gang stalking. And they're harassing together. They're not separate. This is one entity. They're all roaches. License plate 7 Paul George Paul 174. And this is the same freeway where I'm capturing the fake sun in the morning. And this is where the entity knows exactly where I'm at. That's why Ontario is at the freeway entrance, and the entity is engaging in what is the pattern of conduct of gang stalking in an adjacent city. That city that's also engaged in gang stalking. Knowing where you're at, targeting you in that adjacent city is engaged in the pattern of conduct, and I've already shown that. Andy Tuckerman is going to federal prison, okay? He's going to, just like Sean Thrasher is going to federal prison. Okay, that's gang stalking the manager of the Fontana Lewis Library. I documented her. Federal prison. License 9UOT089 8PIX 590. They're all engaged in harassment. This is documentation accumulation of the people of the state that are gang stalking with the entity that's using commercial airline companies that are going to be prosecuted. 6 Larry Kelly Charlie 037. This is getting to the threat that the airline companies that are gang stalking American citizens, murdering them, and doing so with a suicidal a suicidal group of people that board planes anticipating death. These are the demon-possessed. They're already dead. They're engaging in demonic activity. The entity intentionally crashes planes and kills American citizens. And the demon-possessed get on these planes aware of the fact that they're about to die. They do so targeting one person. They will sacrifice themselves in order to kill one person. And the entity is engaging what is gang stalking using... There's no takeoff over here. This is P.O.C. And I documented those houses that are right here lining the side of the freeway. I documented all them. They're gang stalking. The entity that's engaging in that sort of psychotic conduct is gang stalking with the demons that are engaging in what is harassment. I just want to be clear. That's the entity that's engaging in what is that impunity. This is taking off from over here, rising up in elevation. That's exactly what they're doing behind the Ontario City Hall. Okay, there's no takeoff, there's no land in back there, there's nothing but houses, and the entity just engages in this with regard to targeting where I'm at. That's called relevant positioning. And the entity is subject to federal prison. You're talking about prosecuting Bill Velto, Paul Leon, Mike Lorenz, Marcelo Blanco. You're talking about the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct with San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department on this same street in the morning. Those 3 departments, by the way, are being disbanded. San Bernardino County Sheriff, Ontario, and Upland Police. And they're gang stalking. The airport's being shut down. Miles away from the Ontario International Airport to engage in what's supposed to be some that's not even a simulation of a takeoff. They're stalking 10989 Jerry 2. 8YEC 217, 9RLK 656, 8EWK 114, LEKIDZ. They need to be kept away from kids. That's a sex offender. 7FHG 181, 39279 Jerry 4. And this is the entity that's doing the same thing in the morning, where the fake sun at sunrise is over me coming from Ontario, and the entity is engaged in what is psychopathic pacing, because this is not traffic. This is how the government's maintaining surveillance on the roads and the highways, and maintaining aerial surveillance as you are looking at the evidence of me showing you ongoing stalking by commercial airline companies. Okay, and then as you look at it, it is very obvious that the entity is engaged in not only deviation from where planes are taking off and landing, they're doing so while they go outside of what's even published on the websites, for example, Ontario International Airport, where the entity is maintaining surveillance over me where I'm at, and they're also engaging in what is maintenance of a public nuisance while they're keeping the evidence that I'm publishing about them under surveillance. And that's why you have a plane that's taking off right here in the middle of what is the 10 freeway. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that is, again, they have already conceded. This is really sad. It's tragic, but it's good that I'm documenting it, because you need to understand that under these desperate circumstances, the demon-possessed engage in what is harming as many people as possible. as many people as possible. The entity's at a different elevation, and they're in airport with commercial planes, and that is in Ontario. This is not coming from LAX, and this is not about to land in LAX, and this is at a greater elevation than the plane that just engaged in what it's conducting. A very poor level of evidence. To me, it's rich, but very poor with regard to what is hiding that you're stalking. The entity is blatantly stalking, and that's because they are engaged in what is criminal activity upon being exposed. 9XJY561 is stalking and furtherance of murder. That's a male driving that dark gray van. Gang stalking. This is a P.O.C. And this is the entity that's doing so while they are hostile and harassing me because I'm documenting them. This is what the entity is doing as vagina monitors. And like I said, Andy Tuckerman, this is relevant to what I'm putting on X about him because I am not engaged in what is just picking on somebody that's innocent. He is indeed a sex offender, and he's engaged in sexual violence with the people of the state who engage in it with minor children. They go in there engaging in what is gang violence together, and they're sex offenders. And Andy Tuckerman is getting additional time because he's not only engaged in what is targeting furtherance of murder with the city of Upland, with the city of Ontario, with the entity, but he's doing so with minor children. And you are getting additional time for engaging in the terrorism with minor children, like what he's doing in the bathroom. All right, this is the mentally ill pattern of conduct, and these are the dead that have given up, and now they're engaging in it before you, before the whole world, and they're engaging in that which to their own demise. You're going to watch them be prosecuted. You're going to watch them be treated as the enemies that they are under martial law. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:31 p.m.
License plate 8WETs 877. Sexual assault and battery. Doing so on Plaza Serena at Euclid, where the Ontario International Airport is engaged in psychopathic pacing. So crossing path in concert with the demons that are living on the street. So at the intersection, and then you have a sex offender that is greeting with the molestation. That's the entity acting in concert. 8 Samuel Victor Edwards 665, sexual assault and battery as well at 135 Plaza Serena. Where the entity is maintaining the fake moon over the venue as well. 7 Xavier, Indiana, Victor 551, sexual assault and battery. 65949 Victor 3, sexual assault and battery. This is the neighborhood. This is the street. I documented them before, and they're engaging in what is gang stalking with the city of Ontario that's following through the city of Upland into the city of Ontario with plane activity, UPS gang stalking at the 10 freeway, and capturing psychopathic pacing because the second plane I'm capturing, and you can see it rising in elevation. It's funny with regard to the psychotic behavior that the entity engages in, with regard to foolishness, the obvious criminal conduct, the obvious success in court against a government that's going to be prosecuted for things that's never been prosecuted for before. But it's very severe because these are highly unstable demon-possessed people. 8 Apple Larry Thomas 773. They're all gang stalking in their homes. Plaza Serena, the entire neighborhood. Just want to be clear, the entire street, right? And it's the entire city, but everybody on this street is gang stalking. It's relevant to the whole neighborhood, and they share in what is sexual violence, and that's how they're going to be prosecuted. You have sex offenders that are being prosecuted, and they have kids in their homes, and this is going to affect the way in which they're prosecuted. License 42139 Charlie 4. Or rather, it's going to affect their lives upon being prosecuted as a sex offender and being prosecuted as a terrorist. That is equally threatening to a child. And the people of the state are in custody of children that are sex offenders. This is what I'm documenting at the city libraries while they're engaged in sexual violence with the same government. Same psychopathic pacing, same ongoing psychopathic behavior with regard to monitoring genitalia, and doing so with demon-possessed mom and dad, and doing so outside of the presence of the demon-possessed mom and dad. They're terrorists because this is demonic, and so you're prosecuting for what is a behavioral pattern as you prove it with tangible evidence, but understanding because it is demonic, these are mentally ill people, children that are born engaging in what is monitoring you, violating your privacy, while they're also doing so using communication devices. And this is where we're going to bring it from the spiritual terrorists that are demons in this country and engaging us, keeping us under surveillance, violating your privacy, into the physical, because they're doing so with the government via communication devices. Black Patrol, I believe. Black Night Patrol, I documented them gang stalking, and these are psychopaths engaging in what is stalking with light. I'm going to prosecute the company, and I have a license plate as well under the fake moon, and they're gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport. All right, these are demons engaging in surveillance, psychopathic behavior, aiming light on me, just like the fake sun is over. And so I did a screenshot. You'll see the fake sun over me at this venue during the day. This is what this demon operating a commercial vehicle. I'm going to prosecute the business. I'm going to prosecute the sex offender operating that commercial vehicle, stalking in the path in furtherance of what is murder. They're gang stalking with the government. That's literally flying over the venue with planes as well. I'm going to prosecute.
And it's also relevant to what is the psychological torture, which again, another ghetto establishment that cannot afford those damages. This is the entity you're going to be paying restitution in prison when you can't afford the damages and they can't. So this is the entity that's gang stalking. However, this is P.O.C. I'm gonna go ahead and get images of that again. Black night patrol is routinely engaged in what is stalking me with light, doing so with these hostile Latina females at 748, 749 Euclid Avenue, gang stalking on behalf of the government, doing so in the middle of the night, doing so early in the morning, and if they are immigrants, they're going to be deported. Okay? Are you okay? Is there something in Engineer Light? He's not okay. He's mentally ill. Excuse me? Why? Yeah, I did. An application for what? Do they hire the mentally ill? Is that what you are? This is Engineer Light behind him. It's audible activity. Do you have a gun on? Yeah, and he's carrying a gun. That's prison. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaged in stalking with this is an African-American male. He's monitoring in the Engineer Light, and he's doing so while he is carrying a gun on his hip. This is a threat to my life while he's monitoring in real time. Is everything okay? This demon is stalking me routinely with this vehicle. This is a means of stalking with light in the path as I'm crossing paths with this medical office, and also the professionals, the medical professionals that work here at this venue, I'm prosecuting them as well. They're engaged in surveillance, which Black Night Patrol confirms, while I'm subject to gang stalking at the venue, and the fake sun remains over me. You're not staying in the medical field. And the government is flying over me, stalking me by planes, where you are practicing any form of medicine. This is P.O.C. I just want you to see what's behind, and then you're looking at the light activity on the building, okay? This is where the Latinas in 748 and 749 engage in what is gang stalking. Even when I'm across the street, they're coming out of their homes knowing exactly where I'm at, and their knowledge is also proven through the fake sun and the fake moon, and the government stalking by plane and helicopter, and doing so while they're engaged in surveillance. And if they're immigrants engaging in that sort of conduct on behalf of the entity, they're going to be deported. Okay, they don't have to come out right now because the entire city of Ontario is going to be swept through and gutted out. All the immigrants are being deported. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:14 p.m. Alrighty, as I mentioned, I just want to clarify one of the most desperate and extremely delusional actors that have played a key role in trying to take my life and stalking me for a prolonged period of time. You're talking about years. The government's been engaged in keeping me under surveillance my entire life. And as you know, that's because we've been under surveillance. The United States government has been keeping American citizens under surveillance. So it's a system this is what's going on in the country, period, is surveillance. And the entity has been focusing on me, targeting me amongst maintaining surveillance because of my identity. And amongst those actors, it includes not only Tracy Banks, who I've documented. You're looking at what you know about this pattern of conduct and how she's depicted herself versus what she really is and has been doing and for years. And you're also assessing, again, what is necessarily a sickness, an illness in the mind regarding doing that to any person, including a relative. Okay, very, very depraved, very sick. And her sex partners share in that. Okay, and now the extent to which Eric Spencer, who may or may not even be my brother, okay, you're talking about they're mentally ill with regard to a whole fake existence. Lying about their relation to me, and then lying about through literally as they live their life, acting like you're a loving relative, acting like you even like me, acting like you have any remote concern whatsoever about me. Like literally, these people were in my life and I'm thinking that they're the closest people to me, especially Tracy and Eric. And these are the people that have been plotting my murder and have been systematically targeting me. All manner of sexual violence. They know every detail about my nude body. These are sex offenders. And these are people that are related to me as well. This is getting to the cult, the fact that these are demons. And you're talking about making a separation in your mind to understand the significance. You're dealing with the person that you're blood related to. And then you're understanding and recognizing the spirit of Satan that is possessing that person that you are related to. So it is that spirit of Satan that is seduced by your body while that person is related to you. It is that spirit of Satan that has some sort of sexual attraction to you. It is that spirit of Satan in that vessel, that person that you're related to, that has a desire to see you in the nude.
even to share that sort of vulnerable state, that private concerning you, that private status concerning you with other people, engaging in that sort of voyeurism of a relative. That's because of the demon possession. Now, in the physical, we address that as mental illness, and it is absolutely depraved and demented, and it is shared with the demon-possessed military that are stalking using the commercial planes, doing cartwheels over the buildings, stalking me in different cities when there's not even an airport there. That level of obviously gang stalking is something that a government that does not want to be caught for engaging in this conduct, that would never engage in that. That's the level of mental illness that's shared by those who are blood related to you, even though Eric doesn't know how to fly a plane. Eric doesn't have access to a helicopter. Eric never went into the academy to try to be a police officer. Eric is equally mentally ill. They share the same demon-possessed condition. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that, and it is including what is being sexually attracted to those that you're blood related to, and even engaging in what is having a desire to just violate your privacy, and just for no reason whatsoever, just because they know that it's something that you wouldn't like, that you would be harmed by sharing what are any sort of means of sharing your private moments with other people, such as putting a camera in so that the world can see your relative in the nude in their home, in the privacy of their own home. These are the things that Tracy Banks and Eric Spencer have engaged in, okay? There is no normalcy there. There is, like I've stated before, also, there's no need to apologize. You don't apologize for these things. You don't apologize for that. You go on with your life. I'm going on with mine. You go on with your life. Your time has concluded. I absolutely do wish you the best, because that and the people that engage in that, they're going straight to hell. They're going to burn for eternity. So I do hope that they learn, and that they grow, and that they repent, and that they come to terms that they need to come to in order to be saved from the fiery pit of hell, because that's exactly where they're going if there are no changes. But you don't apologize for these things. You merely stay away for life, because you will never have any consent. And this is the entity that's been engaged in that. Tracy Banks, being in custody, a guardian of mine since I was a child. So that goes to show the type of sexual violence that she was engaging against me as a minor child. Okay, not too far and distinct from the people of the state that engage in vagina monitoring with their kids, via their kids. That's a form of what is sexual violence. They're literally abusing the children and engaging what is sexually violating another together with it's like going to engage in what is raping someone and taking your children along with them and letting them participate in it. That's what the people of the state are doing. And this is, again, relevant to the demon-possessed state of those that you are related to. And it is shared by those that you are not related to, those that you do not know. And this is how you are aware of the severe mental instability and the threat posed by the entity. That does include those that I'm related to, including Eric Spencer and Tracy Banks. Tommy Allen Banks, I'm not blood related to him, but he is a sex offender, a convicted sex offender that is also married to, was married to Tracy Banks. And they are both sex offenders that engaged in what is having custody over me. Now, you're talking about, as an adult, you're publicizing my nudity by putting cameras in my home so that sex offenders that you're having sex with, like Jason Fields, can sit around stalking me around the corner from my apartment, masturbating in the car, and engaging in what is defaming my character on paper, going to court hearings that I know nothing about, while they're engaging in what is gang stalking me the entire time. And they're masturbating while the Los Angeles Police Department is stalking me by helicopter. They're sexually gratified while I'm being psychologically tortured, and they're watching me in the nude in my apartment, and they are stalking outside around the corner from where I'm at, where the fake sun is rising and setting over me. This is the combination of the levels of instability that is a threat to any person. No, there will be no reconciling with anyone, and I don't care what you claim you went through. I hope you did, because you need it. But there will never be any conversation. There will not even be a conversation about the fact that I will never speak with you, speak to you, converse with you. I'm not going to shake your hand. I don't owe you any of that, nor do I have to. I don't have to prove that I've forgiven anyone. This is the reality. You did these things. And these are the type of issues that people that engage in those things have.
And you did that to harm me for no reason whatsoever. You did that with an entity, a group of people that I don't even know. And even if I do know, you also did it with those that I'm related to. You did it with everyone that I'm related to. Everybody that I'm related to that's alive, that's breathing, is engaging in this pattern of conduct. No, there's no apology. You don't apologize for that. All right, this is something where it's like, well, you're going to burn in hell if you don't change. And that also is not my problem. That's not my concern. My concern is my safety. My concern is my well-being. And that's exactly what I've taken control of with regard to prosecuting you. I will prosecute you, and I have thoroughly forgiven you. I hope you understand that complexity as well. Because I'm prosecuting you to the fullest extent of the law. And it goes for all of your sex partners, those sex partners that include people that I formerly associated with. You had sex with Glenn Anthony Williams. You had sex with whether Eric is actually my brother or he's my cousin or my nephew. If Tracy Banks and Eric Spencer had sex with each other, that would be a part of this cult. They're demons. So you're talking about the demons within them that are sexually deranged. So that's where you have people that are blood related, sexually attracted to each other, engaging in sexual activity with each other. It's demonic. It's the demons that are in them that are sexually attractive. And you have people that are acting out those demonic impulses. Okay? It's because they're demon possessed. And I don't even want to know the details of that, but this is what this cult engages in. Incest, pedophilia, group sex, homosexuality, which are all manifestations of demon possession. It's demonic. It's the Jezebel spirit. This is sexual perversion that is manifesting. And literally, I'm going to break this down for you. Spiritually speaking, this is mental illness as you address it in the carnal. But it's mental illness that has been normalized in American society, by the way. All of it. Okay, except for things like, well, to a degree, it has been normalized. Pedophilia, because this is why you have child porn. So while it's illegal, there is a level of it being acceptable amongst those that practice it, and they have their own little genre, if you will, on the web, on the dark web, where people that are of that same type of sickness, those same type of demons, in other words, are compelling them, and they're interested in sex with children, sexually exploiting children, sex trafficking children, sexually violating, sexually traumatizing children, sexually humiliating children. That's of demon possession. Okay, so these are not just mean people, bad people. They're demon-possessed people. And demon-possessed people engage in sexually deranged behaviors. In case you were not aware, it is mental illness in the carnal. But mental illness in the carnal has been normalized in American society. But it is absolutely twisted and abnormal. And the Bible describes it as an abomination with regard to homosexuality. And that is because it is entirely opposite and distinct from the way in which you were designed, the way in which you were created in God's image. And then you're talking about where Satan's spirit gets a hold of you and you're acting out all manner of what are twisted behaviors. Moreover, you have these demons that are gang stalking, these cult members, and they've been so deceived by Satan. They think when they engage in pedophilia and in gay sex that they're getting some sort of spiritual gift. They literally believe that. You're talking about the levels of deception by Satan. It's demon possession. It is Satan that is operating control over you. And Satan is a spirit. And so I want to be clear. These spirits are obsessed with our physical vessels. Okay. There's a level, to put it in terms, it's almost like being envious of the fact that we are physical, carnal, and that we are living on this plane, whereas they're spiritual and they're obsessed with and they are entranced by our physical bodies. That includes literally your genitalia. So you're talking about things that come from that, such as nymphomania, being addicted to sex. That's a spirit. That's a demonic spirit. And that's a demonic spirit that's addicted to your genitalia, addicted to another's genitalia. That's a demon. The entity that it's very much perverted and abnormal. And this is an entity that's engaging in all manner of dysfunction. And this is where they are engaging what is gang stalking others. These are things that are not adequately addressed here in the physical. And that's because you have demons that are in the medical field. You have what is a hatred for Christ Jesus. So you are not even starting from a place of truth. And where you're not even starting from a place of truth regarding the existence of God. You're not under any circumstances even in a position to address what are the issues, the complexities of human beings that are suffering from the plight of demon possession, because you're not even addressing it in the first place. You are treating it with carnal things such as drugs And that's for a carnal purpose, to make money. And these are demon-possessed people that are abusing the medical field and engaging in what is targeting criminal surveillance, which is Satan's system in the United States. So understand that it is not designed at the outset to treat that which Satan wants to plague you with. That's the whole purpose of it. Now, when you have these demons that I'm related to that have engaged in these things and more, this is what I'm referring to. Having sex with Glenn Anthony Williams, if he was and he's not different. So you're talking about the level of disgust here. These are maggots and roaches. If you can just imagine in your mind a bunch of disgusting insects like that, which God created. Nonetheless, they are disgusting. You pick up a boulder, that's where you find maggots in the dark. In the cold, wet, damp, dark, where nasty, rotting things are. And that's what the demon-possessed are. They are the cockroaches of mankind. And they are engaged in all manner of vile behavior. And this is a population that has been gang stalking me and having the audacity to speak ill on my name when I engage in none of the things that they do as a lifestyle. In fact, while they worship me and stalk me obsessively, they commit these sick things together, including while they're in the midst of stalking me, because it's relevant to the demons that are on them that are obsessed with me. And this compels them to masturbate while they're stalking me, while they're watching me on cameras. This compels them to engage in group sex, to engage in homosexual acts, to engage in sex acts with children at the same time that they're watching and stalking and watching me on cameras unbeknownst to me. This is all manner of what is the disease of the mind of human beings that are demon possessed. That's what's gang stalking me in planes and in helicopters and in the libraries while they're giving birth to kids, gang stalking me. This is literally what's wrong with this population of dead people. And it centers around sex, yes. Sexual perversion. This is not normal sex, and this is not sex that God intended, that he created to be between a man and a woman that are married. A husband and wife, okay? God created Adam and Eve, and they were committed to one another. That's how he created it. Okay, so you're talking about what is the entity that's engaging in this, and there is no need for any apology, and it would be a disingenuous one. I am not a fool, and I wasn't a fool when you were gang stalking me unbeknownst to me either. There is no apology, especially when I'm being gang stalked. You are of the same spirit. You are not sorry. While that same spirit is gang stalking me, you will refrain from coming into my presence, or you are going to prison even longer. That goes for Jason Isaac Fields, a cult member that's a part of the military that is gang stalking me. The military are the ones that are going into the library gang stalking me all day long, engaging in surveillance, just wearing civilian clothing. As uncivilized as they are, the military are the ones that are gang stalking, driving school buses and driving the flying the commercial airline planes and stalking me in helicopters, and gang stalking, engaging in surveillance at night when I'm going from the library to the Ontario Town Square, stalking by being on the in the carport of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, gang stalking by engaging in surveillance on Euclid Avenue where they're molesting with them. These are demons that are part of this cult, engaging in all manner of surveillance while I'm documenting. The gang stalkers that are the U.S. military, that yes, the President of the United States is very much aware of, has commissioned the U.S. military to engage in what are targeting American citizens. In other words, the United States military is engaging in warfare, not with enemies outside of this country, but with American citizens that are unprepared, that are not trained in warfare, that are being targeted in ways in which they've never even heard of. And these are by demons who are a part of the military. They call themselves the United States Army, the United States Air Force, the United States Marines, the United States Navy. Scripture defines them as children of the devil, demon-possessed, hellbound. All right, these are demons that are engaging in what are murder, right? And they do so in the name of the United States. They also do so abroad, and the propaganda is that they're engaging in what is a war on terrorism, and doing so where they're engaging in what are capitalistic endeavors, by the way, stealing from other parts of the world, stealing from other even terrorists, stealing from other innocent, as so far as the United States having a right to barge into other countries, other nations, and rape and kill their children and murder the men and claim that they did so because of some war that the United States is maintaining against that country. The United States that's gang stalking American citizens, targeting them and keeping you under surveillance, is not telling you about it. That's exactly what they're doing abroad. All right, so the United States government is engaging in what is warfare in the United States. The United States government is a domestic terrorist. And this is the point that we are in history. And there is nothing in the Bible that says the United States is going to survive forever at all. And I'm here to tell you why I'm documenting this. It is not. This country has sacrificed itself. And this is relevant to this country that has targeted those that the Lord God, Scripture itself, which is law, especially to demons. Oh, they're very much aware of spiritual law. They don't submit to Christ. And they're also clearly delusional. They're in blatant disregard of the law now while they're losing in a sacrifice that they planned for somebody else. You're watching them lose their mind. But I want to be clear, this is part of what they manifested because they thought I was going to lose my mind. You're watching the demon-possessed losing their mind while they're stalking me in Southwest Airline planes and UPS planes and Ontario Police Department helicopters and Upland Police Department helicopters. And the entity that's gang stalking on the roads and the highways, the population of demons that are families gang stalking, you're watching them losing their minds. That's a spirit that's attacking them because it's not touching me. And that's a matter of spiritual law. Touch not and do my prophets no harm. Paraphrasing. That's a law. And these are things that, regardless of whether you want to affirm it as true or not, it remains the case. Christ Jesus is the Lord, and he is coming back in judgment. That remains a fact as well. And in fact, you're witnessing this prosecution, which is judgment by the Lord God Almighty, is evidence to you of the truth of the Word of God. But he has already given all of the evidence that is needed. He rose from the dead. And this is also not based on things regarding whether you want to acknowledge that as true or not. Truth is objective, and it exists in and of itself. It is not contingent upon man, who was a created being, to acknowledge it as such. That is your ego that thinks that you have the position or the ability or relevance to do that. And you do not. You don't. And that's just the reality. I want to make sure that I'm speaking to the entity that's engaged in this pattern of conduct, the entity that's the sick entity that thinks that we're going to be friends after you engaged in the disgusting, vile things that you did against other people, let alone me. It will never happen. The reason why you engaged in it and the Lord God told me about it is because you are not going. And there is no matter of making up for the things that you have done. The person that I'm going to marry is someone that would never, regardless of whether you came to Christ. I want to be clear, God is outside of time. So because you have not yet submitted your life to Christ doesn't mean that it's okay for you as my future husband to have engaged in being a serial killer and raping kids, and then you came to Christ, and then it's all good, and I'm just going to overlook that. The Lord God is fully capable of redeeming, and he redeems to the fullest extent, absolutely, as though you never committed it. But I'm letting you know what I already know is the case. You are not it, and you will not be it, because it also will not happen against my will. There is no such thing in Scripture as any sort. This demonic stuff about being twin flame, that's out of hell. Will have nothing to do with that. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, those are the ones that feed into that. These cult members that engage in what is anal sex with each other and then praying to Satan as though they're going to garner some, they're going to start levitating one day. Then that's the day that they're going to be able to have an upheaval against those that are walking with Christ Jesus. They're going to overpower the Holy Spirit. They just have to keep having gay sex. That's what they believe. This is how lost they are. Okay, the more that you engage in gang stalking me and I document it, then that's just going to flip the case. The real case, okay, the physical case that's in a courtroom where you're going to be crying like the homosexual you are about going to prison, and the evidence that you have accumulated against yourself, because I don't have to hunt down the stalkers. The stalkers are giving me the evidence in heaping amounts, okay, on a daily basis. You've lost the court case, and you are so suicidal. You've lost the case, and you've conceded everybody else sharing in that pattern of conduct. And this is an entity that it's not changing. The more you engage in that, which is against your interest, the more that I'm winning. It's not causing me to be down. Like I said, it's causing me with regard to winning a prosecution, which I was going to do whether Satan was foolish enough to hand me over the case or not, which is what you're doing. Stalking me in Upland, California, stalking me in Fontana, stalking me by flying in circles by helicopter, stalking me on a nightly basis, stalking me in these absurd, obvious manners. You're handing over a case to me. This is not even a challenge. I'm doing the Running Man with blindfolds on and my hands tied behind my back, and I'm winning. Okay. And matter of fact, I won. It's in past tense. It's already done. That does not change. The fact that you have done what you have done. It's not contingent upon how successful I am. I spoke about these things a long time ago. And I think that it's necessary to speak on the fact that an entity of demons have engaged in what is losing in a bet that they made. And they bet their own lives. Now, it's up to you whether you repent in order to hold on to your life, but that's not changing what is the fact that you are permanently blocked from having anything to do with me ever in life. Duh. It would be the same thing if I had a child and you harmed my child and you think that we're going to make up for it. You gave him, that's great. That's great. Perhaps you're inching your way out of the pit of hell when you die, but we will not be friends. This is about what is an entity that's full of, now you're it's all manner of what is literally sexual and perverted, obsessive, delusional. Okay, you are not so delivered. The fact that I'm still being gang stalked, you are not apologetic. You have not changed, and you will not be hearing anything from me other than, why are you in my presence, and I'm going to prosecute you for that. I hope you understand that. You're the one that didn't understand you were being prosecuted in the first place. The federal government is the one that's targeting me. The federal government is not dictating what justice is going to look like, because the federal government is the criminal. You're going to prison, and you're going to prison even longer. And that is because you have decided to go to prison even longer. This is you and your life. That's you. And it's the same for all of your sex partners. You would be a fool to step into my presence. You would be a fool to think I'm going to accept flowers from you. You would be a fool to think that a tarot card reading has any sort of relevance to reality or the truth. They're literally getting messages from demons like you who are monitoring. It will never happen. Nothing will ever happen. That's what I mean by it. The entity that engaged in what is forfeiting a relationship with me as my mother, forfeiting a relationship with me as my brother, forfeiting a relationship with me as any type of family member at any level, forfeiting a relationship with me as a friend. This is natural. This is axiomatic. This is not rocket science. It's as clear as the fake sun remaining over me all day long at the Upland Public Library. Everybody clearly sees that, and everybody clearly sees, especially by the words that I am clearly articulating out of my mouth, that it is not and nothing is going to happen other than me prosecuting you, other than me pointing at you as the defendant and that I recognize in court, other than you being accountable civilly and with regard to damages that are unprecedented. There is nothing else that's going to happen. You're not giving me a flower. You're not going to have a word with me. There's not going to be a handshake, nor is that necessary. I'm not required to do that to release you. You've already been released. You're the one that is still stalking me. Don't get that confused, because you're getting it confused. In order to be forgiven, there is no obligation that I have to associate with you. I don't even have to sit there and listen to an apology that is a waste of my time. We're beyond that. Once you tried to kill me as a whole government system, yeah, we're well beyond an apology. I don't need it. Just move on and do better. Respect my wishes and stay away from me, or I'm going to enforce my rights against you. And that's not a matter of not forgiving you. That's a matter of the law. The two are distinct. I want to make sure that this is clear, because you have those that are particularly delusional regarding especially actors like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields. And this is what's so interesting, because these two had the most perverted sex with each other, sexually addicted to one another. That's disgusting. And yet also sexually obsessed with me, even though I'm not having sex with either one of them. Both of them engage in what are sexually violating me. All right. And they are also delusional about having any sort of future endeavor, future relationship with me. Isn't that interesting? This is the working of Satan on the mind of those that he has deceived and that he's had his clutches on for a very long time. But in reality, it's not going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Not even a conversation, because that's how much of a threat that Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields pose. Okay. This is the entity that represents an unlawful threat to me, and that is including as I am enforcing my rights in any court of law while the entity is still gang stalking, like what this is Mickey and I forgot this other demon's name, but I'm documenting them from the Ovid Family Community Library crossing path where the entity is stalking. They're doing so while they're walking out of the library. It's 9:12 p.m. right now. They're gang stalking and doing so. They're both going to federal prison. But I want to be clear, even as justice as provided, that's like suggesting that, okay, the stalker has been prosecuted and you're going to serve the penalty that the court provided with regard to providing justice. When you get out of prison, you're not going to call me and we're going to link up. I'm not going to be baby girl that's holding you down while you're in prison. None of this is going to happen. None of it in reality. Only perhaps in a mentally ill person's mind, in the chambers of your dark mind. Fantasies about things that are never going to happen. You've got all these fantastical ideas. But in reality, none of it's going to happen. Your co-defendants are still gang stalking me. You can kiss any sort of future endeavors with me goodbye. And the reality is that you didn't realize that was permanent when you first decided to do it. It's not based on when you acknowledge that you're wrong and you want to do a change of pace and go the opposite direction and try to make up. There's no such thing as making up. When you went down that path, that was it. And anyone that would ever engage in that sort of conduct, you are unfit to be in my circle. It will never happen. You need to find those that are like you, making a change for the better, whatever you call that. And you have such great power. You're so famous. You're so wanted. You're so desired. You should have no problem moving on and letting it go. Because there is nothing there. And there hasn't been for years. Like the 700th time that you had sex with my mom. It's been over. You are not in the cards. It will never happen. And you are sick to even entertain it. It will never happen. I'm still being gang stalked. It will never happen. I'm sleeping outside. It will never happen. You at one point were defaming my character, speaking down on my name. You thought that it's funny to gang stalk somebody. That doesn't make me look bad. I've never been a loser. I'm not losing now. I'm sleeping outside and I'm not a loser in that circumstance. Because you're evil? Because you have been brainwashed by this world to think that you do wicked and that makes you, for the temporary second, feel like you're on top of somebody? You're a loser. It will never happen. It speaks volumes about your character. I am not just looking at the here and now about where you are. I am considering who you are even before. It's not about, you don't have to be a Christian to be a decent human being. The fact that you have the capacity in the first place, you are not ever going to be around me. I can't afford it. I don't have time to, and I will not make any time for that. That someone could lie to you, that someone could even get your ear, that you would even entertain nonsense. It's not an excuse that Tracy Banks told you a lie. And then she got you in her clutches and she cast a spell and that's how you were able to she was able to get you doggy style. You think I care about that? Those details don't matter. You're out, period. You're out. All of it was a test. And it wasn't my test. It was your test and you failed it. What you don't understand, you failed it years ago and you failed it in front of everyone because everyone's looking back at all the things that you said about me. Everyone's looking back at all the things that you've done against me. And Tracy is not by herself as much as you would like that to be the case. She may be a ringleader, but you were right there in the ring with her. Loving it, by the way. Loving it. And I want to be clear, you do not cease to be equally accountable while I'm still subject to evil that you were entangled in. It will never happen. If I ever did call you and hint around about what I am going through, because I didn't actually lay out anything to anybody. I actually didn't lay out I'm being gang stalked and da-da-da-da. I didn't lay that out to anyone. But there are those far and few, very few on my one hand. If I ever, and I didn't need to because you were gang stalking me. So you already knew what I was going through and you did not help me. It will never happen, sweetie. It's never going to happen. There's no flowers that you can buy. There's no group of people that you can compliment me in front of. All right. There's no YouTube video that you can publish giving me a series of compliments that I don't care about. I don't care about that. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think when you're lying about me. I don't care what you think now that you're enamored with me, because now the veil has been taken. You and your mental illness are highly irrelevant in my circle, in my life, and in my mind. I do not care. It's not changing. The facts are that this happened ever, you are out. That it happened ever, it will never happen with you. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that has been my standard. The Lord God was merciful and gracious to permit you to be in my life in whatever degree that was, in order for you to make a decision before I found out about everything. And that time is up. And there is no going back. Nor am I obligated to. Nor is that a measure of the love I have in my heart and whether I forgive. No, you've been released a long time ago. I'm not concerned about you. You're still monitoring me. You're still monitoring my vagina. And you think I'm going to have a conversation? I'm going to look at you in your face? It's never going to happen. You are literally a sex offender. You know who you are. Whoever has children with you, those children are in danger. It will never happen. I would be a fool, and I am not a fool. I've never been a fool. And those are the facts, whether you like it or not. It's the truth. You're the one that's out here gang stalking and murdering and stalking people, not me. Nor would I ever do that. Even before I committed my life to Christ, I have never been out in the streets, nor would I ever do that. There is no comparison. That is the type of person that will be in my life, someone that is not capable in the first place. Being a Christian or not being a Christian is not an excuse. It will never happen. And the more delusional you are, the more insisting you are, the more that you're monitoring me, the more that I'm still being gang stalked, the more you've blocked yourself. And you're just in denial about that fact. But you blocked yourself when you were swimming in Tracy Banks's vagina. And I'm just going to put it out there. You were backstroking. Okay? Deep diving. And it will never, ever happen. You are absurdly psychotic to believe that someone is having a sexual relationship, a long-term sexual relationship with a relative of mine under any circumstances, and that I'm going to have anything to do with you in a romantic sense after trying to gang stalk me. It's not like you were with my mom and then, it's all good and we're friends. No, that's not it. My mom and everyone that she knows and everyone she was having sex with and everyone that apparently were behind my back, the entire act, all of you on a stage, I'm sorry, it's never going to happen. Not in real life. You are just creating what are a fan base on YouTube, and you're getting all these people's hopes up, because it's not happening. And test me and see if I care about what people think about whether I don't care. I don't care. You were not there when he was engaging and they were engaging when they were engaged. It does not matter. Nor am I obligated. I'm obligated to the Lord. That's who I'm obligated to. That's who I'm serving. And it is not on my heart or on my conscience to deal with anyone that had anything to do with trying to kill me and keeping me in a homeless state outside, which did not break me as a person. And glory to God, if you are changed from it, there is never going to be anything between us. That's not what's required. And that's not the point of this. And so you really need to focus on what are the teachable moments that you've had. You had to go through witnessing somebody being gang stalked to learn that that's probably not right to do. Okay, well, we all come from different areas, I suppose. But you are not my cup of tea, and it will never happen. That's just the reality. Okay. It is currently 9:21 p.m. and this is specifically toward those that are essentially the people of the state. Those of you that learn about this case after the fact, meaning you haven't been sitting around monitoring my vagina for years. You don't have my body measurements already. You don't know what I look like when I'm washing in the shower. You're not a sex offender. You're not a stalker. You're not a monitoring spirit. You're not a weirdo having sex with everyone that I know. You don't have a sexual relationship with my relatives. You're not a closeted homosexual with 13 different personalities, each of whom I've never met. I only met the one representative. Those of you, you are of a population that has not been a part of this. Okay, but the demon-possessed far exceed those that are in California. I want to be clear, demon possession is of a Satan spirit. Satan's spirit is all over the globe. And so Satan knows who I am. And as a result, you're talking about all over the globe, not just because it was physically, you're talking about in the physical here on earth, my image was put on the internet. You're talking about monitoring spirits, demons that are in other parts of the world that know what I look like in the nude because they're monitoring me. This is the reality. No person like that is having any. I'm not going to accept a job from you. I'm not going to dinner with you. I'm not accepting flowers from you. I don't want to hear about your testimony about how you came to Jesus. That's great. Go tell your new church, tell your mother, witness to her. Okay. Go be a better parent to your kids. Go marry your last baby mama, whatever it is that you do. Okay. But this is not what's required with regard to what it is that I am doing. Exposing the truth. I am not obligated in that regard. And I think that needs to be understood, because I think you have an unrealistic, and it's also not scriptural. There's nothing in the Bible that tells me that I have to do that. I have to forgive. And me forgiving is not something that's dictated in the way that you want it to be. And to be honest with you, I'm forgiving you while you have not even ceased to engaging in this wicked conduct. I'm still being monitored. You're still monitoring me. You're still a sex offender. You're still sitting around at night masturbating while you're violating my privacy. You are a pervert, and it will never happen. It's never going to happen. You know who you are. I know who you are. The Lord God knows who you are. It will never happen. It's never going to happen. All right, so it is currently 9:23 p.m. and this is getting to particularly the delusional demon that's a cult member in the military targeting me. Would love to entertain the notion that there is no partnership. In fact, I am outside and I'm still outside. I am still dispossessed of money and property that belongs to me. You have sex offenders like these demons that work for security companies that are stalking. The fact that I'm subject to this, you are out of your mind if you think that you're not. My husband is somebody that I would never be outside. If you were my husband, I wouldn't be outside. If you were my husband, you wouldn't have been having sex with my mother. If you were my husband, you wouldn't have been gang stalking me. If you were my husband, you wouldn't even be engaged in this in the first place. Because the one that I'm married to is a leader like me. And you have to be some type of man for me to submit to that. It's never going to happen. You were already out when you made a decision. That was a test years ago. It will never happen. Listen to me. It will never happen. You're delusional. I'm serious. Because the fact that you did it and that you're very hard pressed to accept it, but it's not based on what you can accept. I accept the fact that you're a homosexual. And I'm also satisfied that it's never going to happen. My husband he's not challenged with those things. And this is what I know. I know it by faith. It's not happening. You are not it. And you really need to come to reality and stop wasting other people's time. Because that's what you're doing. You're wasting other people's time and engaging what is targeting me. And if you think you got control, well, fine, I'm going to keep you out there. You're a demon anyway. You can't hurt me. You're not stopping anything. And God remains in control. So I would tread carefully. But that's exactly why it's not you in the first place. And you know who you are, because this is what you've been doing. This is what you've been doing. But that's why you're not it. That's not a matter of, oh, now you're sorry and now you want forget. No, the fact that you ever did that, the fact that your mind was there, the fact that you intended against a woman. I'm sorry. In my book, you're not even a man. You're not a man. That's not what a man is. You are not a man. And literally, when you don't know the Lord, it's impossible for you to be that. And I said exactly what I said. Okay, because the Lord God is the one that is the image, the reflection, the demonstration of how you are to protect a woman, not gang stalk her, not steal from her, not attack her, not gang up on her. Whoever she is, you don't do that, period. And you certainly aren't going to do that and then turn around and be like, oh, you're my wife. You really need help. It's not going to happen. And everyone else that's listening to you, they are as deceived. But it's never going to happen. And it is frankly absurd. It is currently 9:26 p.m. where I remain subject to federal group stalking and monitoring by those that will have nothing to do with what's going on in the rest of my life and who will certainly not even be at my wedding, let alone be in it or be my future partner. Things that you need not even be concerned about while I'm maintaining a federal prosecution. You're delusional. You are still engaged in this obsessive spirit. This is what's wrong with you. Nothing in my documentation is even referencing some sort of romantic anything. I'm talking about gang stalking me, trying to kill me, being abused by police officers, and you're over here on a fantasy? It's never going to happen. And that's nothing other than enraging when I'm outside, sleeping outside. What are you even talking about? What have you done for, I'm outside. It will never happen. I can't put it any more simply. It will never happen. It's never going to happen. It is currently 9:27 p.m. This is P.O.C. License 9 BBC 365. It's a red Tesla. Look like an African-American male. Stalking. So as I walk around from the library, and this is again the government that's being prosecuted as a sex offender. 9 BBC 9 Bob Charlie 365 is engaging in what is an unlawful touching molestation as a psychopath. This is a demon that is in the middle of the night stalking, and the purpose is to molest me with light while they're stalking. So that's speaking to everybody around me, conspicuously and inconspicuously under the fake moon, stalking, and doing so with that third party that's committing a sexual assault and battery in the name of the government. A bunch of demons that are monitoring, and the entity is maintaining a helicopter and plane activity. That's the Ontario Police sex offenders. That's the Ontario International Airport, Alan D. WAPNER, and everyone else on that board. They're all sex offenders. This is the entity, the demon-possessed military, these homosexual veterans that are engaging in what is monitoring with demons that are stalking in the middle of the night on behalf of the government. Okay, license plate 5 Paul Larry Bob 570. This is the mentally ill conduct of the demon-possessed that are gang stalking. This is what they are engaging in, and this third party in the red Tesla is engaging in that, and they're doing so on behalf of an entity that is stalking. Okay, and that's speaking to a population that is gang stalking. The case against the U.S. government is already complete. This is why you have a bunch of strangers that are not actually strangers. They're engaging in surveillance, and they're engaging in what is egregious acts of violence committed as an entity. And this is also relevant to why people like Tracy Banks and Jason Fields don't have any hope. There will never be a conversation. It's never, ever going to happen. 82939 Thomas 2. 9 Victor Larry Victor 987. 8 Paul Wendy Kelly 763. Charlie Jerry Bob 8060. That's Arizona. These are the demons that are, that's an Arizona plate. Yeah, these are the demons that are parked at the Ontario Town Square. And the entity is engaging in what is surveillance while another demon comes by and molests with light and flees off. They're doing so under the fake moon that's remaining over me. Never going to Fontana today. Remaining over me while I'm coming from Upland, California today. Moving in the direction south down Euclid Avenue. Whereas when I'm at the Fontana Lewis Library, where the city of Fontana is gang stalking with Michael Dorsey and the demons of San Bernardino County Fire. The people of the state, a bunch of sex offenders whose purpose is to touch you with light while they're monitoring and stalking you in order to monitor you. These are psychopaths. These are people that are not human beings. These are all bots, okay? And they're engaging in psychotic behavior. License Edward Bob Jerry 34. That's Colorado. License Robert Paul 054. This is another demon from the Army that's engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring. These are sociopaths that join into the military to engage in what is murdering people. And this is why they're gang stalking. License 82544 Victor 2. License Apple David Sam George Paul. Ads GP. That's the license plate. This is P.O.C. These are a bunch of homosexuals that are not men. By the way, sitting around stalking me in the middle of the night, listening to me describe the fact that they are indeed homosexuals, that they are indeed psychopaths who are engaging in the demented behavior of stalking with light, which is what the demons are doing at the 280 North Limit Apartments. Doing so as I walk down to this opposite end of the parking lot, and the same conduct of stalking with light is underway. Doing so while leaving the vehicle in the middle of the street and walking across to, that's John Stewart Company, the senior citizens that are being federally prosecuted, and many will be homeless because the government's not going to pay their rent. They are gang stalking with the demons that are parked outside of that apartment complex, and it's not just them, it's the rest of the entity. But this is the P.O.C. All right, I'm going to get this sex offender's license plate, and this is what the government's being prosecuted for. Mike LORENZ is going to federal prison, as you see his, like I stated, his brother in Satan gang stalking me, Marcelo, Blanco by helicopter. Stalking with light, this is license plate, just like the red Tesla. Demon, 8 Paul Yolanda Larry 955. Stalking in the middle of the night, doing so with the intent to molest while they're monitoring. That's in furtherance of murder. So you have a population of demons that are gang stalking on behalf of the government. And this is the U.S. military, all branches that are engaged in criminal monitoring and furtherance of murdering American citizens. This is war, in other words, that the United States government is exacting against American citizens in this country. And they are severely mentally ill, okay? And that's what's going to happen when you accumulate body counts of murdering people for a prolonged period of time as a history and also as a country. And this is how you have generations of cursed people who give birth to cursed people who repeat the same patterns over and over and over again. And this is how you have the demon-possessed that fill the state of California, the demon-possessed that fill this country, that are engaging in the satanic targeting system. And this is the entity that's doing so under the false idea that they're going to stop ultimately what the Lord God is doing. They're not. That's why they're being exposed. And they are going to suffer very severe consequences. And first, most of which is the demon-possessed that are concerned with their image, and their image is that of dead people. Everyone knows that the fact of demon possession by the P.O.C. and the demon-possessed that are a threat to the public is not only relevant to what is a supernatural circumstance, but it is not something that leaves American citizens, leaves the U.S. In a position of being helpless, because you're aware of what they're doing, you are aware of what they are, who they are, and you're also aware of their behavioral patterns, which pose a threat that they don't want you to be aware of. And it's also relevant to treating them like the threat that they are, isolating them even, making sure that they are not able to, making sure that you're able to neutralize the threat that they pose, in other words. And this is what the government that's gang stalking as a bunch of demons. The police department, those are not people, they're demons. The fire department, those are not people, those are demons. The library personnel, everybody at the grocery store, those are not people, those are demons. Everybody on the freeway, this is what you need to open your eyes to. Everyone in your neighborhood, those are not people, those are demons. And that's what's surrounding me, stalking second by second, everywhere that I'm turning, and they're stalking with light. And during the day, that appears as a fake sun remaining over me for the duration of the day while I'm surrounded by demons. Everywhere that I go, making sure that they are surrounding. Those are not people, those are demons. Those are demons. Demon-possessed people are very real. It's not a matter of what is some imaginary creature, some extreme circumstance where only a few people that go through some, extreme situations, circumstances in life, and no. Demon possession is very common, and it's literally like it's in the water, it's in the air. In California, they are all demon-possessed. The celebrities you're listening to, the shows that you're listening to, the people that you're subscribing to on social media, the ones that are talking to you about Jesus, okay? They're talking to you about God. You're attending church with them. They're demons. And I guarantee you, the moment that I walk around, you will see those demons initiated, okay? Because they're monitoring. And that's what they do not stop doing. That's what they cannot stop doing. They can act all they want, but they cannot engage in what is ceasing to engage in what is their instinct. They cannot. And that's what I'm documenting. As I go around, I show you there's no exception. They're all demons. All of them. Every single last one of them. They're all demons. They're all dead. Now, that is something that you need to be aware of. This is not to instill fear, but it is something that you need to be aware of. You're talking about the U.S. military. They're all dead. They're all demons. And they are on a dead man's, they're dead men walking, and they are on a dead man's mission, such as seeking out those that walk with Christ, and like they're going to steal through gay sex rituals. These homosexuals that are dead men and women are going to steal they're not going to do any of that. They've been watching too many Disney movies, all right, and engaging in what is fantastic fantasies about things that the dead cannot do. Satan cannot do to a child of God. But that doesn't mean that you're supposed to be ignorant, because I'm surrounded by dead people. I'm prosecuting these dead people. They're dead, though. So this is what I'm saying. They've already lost in a manner that you never want to lose. You don't want to lose in a court case against an American citizen. I'm going to bankrupt the city, the state. They're losing not just that job, that position. You're losing your career. You're also losing your freedom. You're losing an ability to support yourself and other people that rely on you. You're losing your reputation. That's what demons really care about, is how they are viewed. They lost all of this and they're dead. They're still stalking for no reason. Now they're just stalking because this is what is in them to engage in it. They are dead and they are pointless in their existence. They are here to monitor other people. These are demons. They're not people. These are demons. And that's what you need to understand. That's why you have multi-million-dollar companies stalking me all day long, going out of their way to now do so in front of the whole world. So Southwest Airlines, Delta Airlines, they want you to know that they're stalking me, because that's literally what they've told you. They're wearing it a banner. I'm stalking Erica, like it is the fashionable thing to do. I'm stalking Erica. I'm Erica's stalker. Those are dead people. Those are not people. They're demons. And I'm going to take over those companies. Okay, this is an entity of a community of them. And not only that, then they're angry because I am telling the truth about what they are and what they're doing. But you're sitting up providing material about yourself stalking me. What exactly are you angry about, Satan? They're unstable. Unstable. Like they did introduce the fact that you are stalking from the 17.5-minute video of planes and helicopters over my head for the 14th night in a row. How about? Like this is something, a pattern of conduct that is very distinct. I could not make it up. And no one is slow here. No one is missing anything. And no one is thinking that this is too far-fetched. No matter how supernatural it is, I've shown a consistent, very clear pattern of conduct, and everybody is looking at it. 1, 2, 3, all the elements. 1, 2, 3. Check, check. They're monitoring their stalking, and everybody's a believer. Nobody is looking like, I'm not sure, this looks questionable, they didn't really do that. Well, how come that's not what this looks like? This is clear, unequivocal stalking by the government. And the reason why they're doing it at this sloppy, obviously, is because they're dead. They're demons. And they will kill themselves in order to harm another person in a second. Excuse me. This is an entity that's engaging in very serious, while they're targeting me, it's highly suicidal conduct. Okay, suicide is not one that is as common as the demon possessed would have you believe. The demon possessed are the ones that are more inclined to commit suicide, and they're doing so out of fear, not doing so out of what is cowardice. Whereas the entity, the demon possessed, wants you to believe that people that harm themselves, people that hate their lives, people that have become so weak, those are the ones that are committing suicide. They are committing suicide when they are being attacked by spirits. Spirits, that these monitoring spirits, the homosexual military men and women that are gang stalking, those are the ones that are more inclined to commit suicide. They attack people. Satan attacks people with suicidal spirits, and then they lie to you and tell you to do things, and then you actually listen to them. But that's not you. Those aren't your thoughts. That's not really what you want to do. The entity that's engaged in gang stalking, they are more inclined to commit suicide. And they're doing it while they are fully aware of the fact that they're committing suicide. They make decisions to kill themselves in order to harm other people. That's how suicide is actually executed. Not so much in the way in which the demon possessed wants you to view suicide. Killing oneself. It's actually quite rare. We've been lied to about, I just want to be clear, we've been lied to about the circumstances of people's death. Just like we've been lied to about surveillance. And the reason for that is because the entity is maintaining a pattern of conduct and maintaining a narrative. And you are essentially blaming the victim regarding suicide. But the reality is that suicide is not as common as the demon possessed, because that's who's putting out these statistics. That's who's telling you that X, Y, and Z killed themselves. That's who's surviving as an insurance beneficiary. That's who's receiving the person that supposedly killed themselves, who was in the middle of writing a book, and that person that survives their child killing themselves, they're the ones that go on ahead and finish publishing that book and make that money as that book goes on the New York Times bestseller list. This is an entity that's engaging what is murder. These are all the ways in which they're murdering people, and they implement the narrative of suicide very often. But actually, that is very rare. And the entity that is gang stalking, these military that are engaging out here murdering people, they're the ones, and they do it out of fear because they're fearful about reaping what it is that they've sown. They're scared about demons that they are very much entangled with. coming and torturing them. They're scared about how they're going to die. They're scared about consequences. And with both eyes open, they kill themselves. That is how suicide, you're talking about Satan that calls himself taking control of his life, as opposed to losing control and being so weak and, engaging what is taking their own life. The way in which the entity typically is describing one that is in so much pain that they are taking their own lives. This is more often than not being described by those that are left after the fact, meaning we're not hearing it from that person. We're not hearing it from them. All right. Typically, you're talking about a note that's being left behind. I'm just speaking to in this entity that's engaged in sacrificing people, that's engaging in murdering people. This entity is the one that is more inclined to commit suicide, as opposed to those that have been that have died and we were told that they committed suicide. And I'm just stating that it is the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. But nonetheless, this is P.O.C. This is documentation of the entity that is gang stalking and engaging what is sexual assault and battery. The government, I want to be clear, the U.S. military, so-called law enforcement, they're sex offenders. And that's exactly how the government that is a terrorist. The United States government is a terrorist. So in other parts of the world, the United States is a foreign terrorist. In the United States is a domestic terrorist. And this is the point that we are at. The U.S. government is engaging in war, is initiating war, is attacking American citizens. All right. That's what the entity is doing. And they are very much sick in the mind. These are unwell people. This is worse than the movies that the demon possessed have created, such as Purge. But it is likened to that sort of idea, lawlessness and violence and killing each other and doing so. This is where you're headed when you have the government attacking itself. All right. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, it's 11:45 p.m. This is upon my leaving the Ovid Family Community Library where the entity had the fake moon. And as I leave, that fake moon leaves above me, which is ongoing confirmation that these are indeed stalkers. And the fact that they're also going out of their way to have light aimed on me. This is the pattern. The entity is engaging what is maintaining light in the path while they are stalking. All right. And the government helps in prosecuting the people of the state because the government is always stalking in planes and helicopters, fire, police, and ambulance vehicles. All right, at every move that I make regarding what it is that I publish, and they do so to the demise of themselves and to the demise of the people of the state. This is going up to the president himself. The president himself that's engaging in terrorism in this country. So that's the reality regarding the entity that put that president in office. Understand the people of the state participated in the illusion regarding the Electoral College, where you don't have any privacy, where the one that is going to be in office has already been decided. This is all an illusion. You don't have any privacy. We're under surveillance. And that is one that is engaging in what is very much aware of what it is down to who I am and what the state of California is doing. And also the fact that I'm even speaking of him and his office right now. But this is an entity that's engaging in that level of surveillance. And with my knowledge, and as I'm speaking to it, that entity, including the person holding the highest office in this land, needs to know that you are not getting away with it. And before me to speak to it is speaking to many others that you can and cannot see who are aware of it. And this is no threat. This is a promise regarding what is inevitable judgment that no amount of money and no army, no military can help you with. It is currently 11:47 p.m. where the state of California is gang stalking on behalf of the U.S. government and engaging in what is unlawful conduct that is inhumane in nature. And it's also unprecedented. The government has never before been proven as one to be engaging in monitoring. The U.S. government has never been proven to be maintaining criminal surveillance. And this is the purpose of the P.O.C. because it is scientific proof. It is even beyond a reasonable doubt, as I've conducted a criminal case against the corrupt government that it cannot be trusted to competently investigate and prosecute based on the facts. because the government itself is the criminal. All right. So this is the P.O.C, and this is the entity that is engaged in criminal monitoring and furtherance of murder. And this is a federal prosecution of the U.S. government that is literally the terrorist in our own country. Okay. And hence, you have a population of domestic terrorists that are sharing in that pattern of conduct. And this is, in other words, akin to the movie Purge, where the government has permitted the constituents to go out and kill and steal without facing any consequences. This is the system of gang stalking, except that it's not occurring on one night every year or one night monthly. This is the way in which this system operates, and it's occurring under the illusion of civilized society. And as you are looking at, there is nothing civilized about it, and these are the dead that are amongst us engaging in that. And they try to engage in it without you suspecting it, without you being aware of it. And now they are doing it. Indeed, the United States government, even the president of the United States, is implicated and is engaging in this in front of the whole world. And there's a reason why it's been revealed at this level and at this time. And that's because there is judgment to pay. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:49 p.m.